Yep, I'm doing okay. How are you? Nice. Hello, Anna. Let me invite you up.
Hey. Oh,
Hey,
there we go. Hey, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Oh, I can't hear you. Sorry, my volume's down.
Oh,
There we go. Now I gotcha.
okay.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Is the sound okay? I'm not using any microphones or headphones, so
Yeah, it's fine.
right on. Well, say hello to YouTube because YouTube is
Oh,
going.
hey, YouTube. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see if we get any guests on TikTok. I hope we do.
I have a link in there, so if anyone in the YouTube, as they start coming in, wants to join, just hit that link. You'll join the live, and then just request up. So yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
Did you do some outreach today, BSL?
I did.
How'd it go?
It actually went pretty well. I was a lot better about being more understanding about obstacles and not just brushing them aside so quickly, even though, obviously it doesn't matter for the victim, but it's important to have everyone be heard so that they're receptive to what we're talking about. So I think I did a lot better with that in that regard. I kind of got flustered with my first person because it was this elderly woman that was being all nice. And she's a goat farmer with a stand at the farmer's market that we were at. And I was like, oh, first one off the bat, it's going to be tough.
And she wanted to have a conversation?
Yeah, she was really eager. In fact, she showed up before we were set up. And then she came back as soon as she saw that we were set up. So she was eager.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was good. It was actually still a decent conversation. And she had like genuine aha moments. So that was good to see. Yeah, someone with so much, riding on it. It was impressive to see her actually take a moment to say, oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure. That's always good because that, of course, as we know, usually doesn't happen with those types.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, well, as soon as she stepped up, even though she was really nice, I'm like, this is going to be a true test of my newly sharpened skills that I just, recently researched. So yeah, really, really trying my patience. But she was really nice. She wasn't that terrible to deal with, but definitely an uphill. So.
Hey, Zach, what's up?
Hey Sierra, how we doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Just chilling, Back
Yeah.
on TikTok after a couple months of break, so good to see you up here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just saw you somewhere. I think, oh, maybe you commented on my video
Yeah,
yesterday. I was like, oh, yeah, I haven't heard from Zach in a while.
the oyster mushroom wings, they actually look pretty good. I do love a good oyster mushroom and like mushrooms in general. I was out yesterday with a mushroom shirt. I want to go back to Washington and like forage. It's on my list.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Okay, so I just had a kind of a topic I wanted to just like bring up. There's a new show on Apple TV called Pluribus. I don't know if you've heard of it or seen it.
I just heard the name. I don't know what it's about.
Okay, so definitely look into it if you can get like a trial of Apple TV, worth watching. But it is okay. Maybe there's spoilers, but it's like this sort of alien virus that takes over the world and turns everyone into a hive mind.
Okay.
And they're like super peaceful And right now in the series, they're talking about how like they wouldn't hurt animals or they can't harm any living things to sustain themselves. And it is, it's like 8 billion people. It's like all of the world operating as
Okay.
one hive mind. So it's very interesting, and I do think you should look into it because I think it has sort of like implications for the argument for veganism. Um, but one of the ways that they solve it is they actually end up using HDP, human derived protein, is what they call it, from like natural deaths. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, super. Yeah, it's
That is
definitely
interesting.
not like what's that?
I just said, yeah, that is interesting. So they can't eat anything that's like living at the time.
Yeah, they'll eat apples, but like only if they fall off the tree. They like won't even harvest plants, right? Because I hear a lot, in the vegan rooms, the whole like plant sentience argument, which I think it's interesting to see how this show like handles that and kind of solves for some of the gaps. But yeah, definitely interesting. Would recommend Pluribus for sure.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. Thanks. And we all know plants are not sentient, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, like I love my plants, but
Yeah, of course.
that's not sentience.
Yeah. So, Zach, since you're up here, have you watched any like vegan documentaries? Have you watched like Dominion, What the Health, Eating Our Way to Extinction, anything like that?
I've not seen. I've definitely heard of Dominion, but I don't actually think I've seen it. Is that available on like one of the like standard streaming platforms, or how do I
It's
get that
just
one?
on YouTube, actually.
YouTube. Okay. I think I may have seen pieces of it.
Yeah, definitely check it out. What the Health is on Netflix. That's a good one. And then Eating Our Way to Extinction. That might be on YouTube. I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the chat correct me if I'm wrong.
It is on YouTube, but I think you have to buy it.
Hmm. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'll definitely try Dominion because I've heard of that one. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you need any resources or anything, you know where to find me.
oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll be around.
Do you want to have any type of discussion about anything?
Oh, about like yeah. I mean, I'm willing to. I like the vegan discussions. I think they're very interesting. So if you have any questions or you want to, I like to like find the line for vegans, right? Like yeah, because there's always some sort of like animal protein, or do you know what I mean? Like, where's the line? Like some people say that like oysters are okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
because they're
oysters.
not sentient.
Oh, oysters are not sentient. Okay.
I think the discussion is still out on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's always evolving, right? There's not like a very clear line. I guess there's no like one hard and fast way to like be vegan, right?
Yeah, I mean, there kind of is. Because we're against the exploitation of sentient beings. So,
Yeah, like and on that level, like I'm totally with you. Like the exploitation, specifically, like the meat industry is like absolutely fucking crazy, like bonkers. Like that's the fact that happens. I don't know, on a mass scale is pretty ridiculous.
yeah. So, what would you say is holding you back from going vegan?
What's holding me back? Okay, there's the convenience aspect to it. I do like the taste of meat, and yeah, I know it's kind of not the place to say that, but here we are.
It's
And
okay. Just to be honest,
yeah,
we've heard it all. So,
yeah, no, I'm sure, and yeah, I don't know. I guess there are nutritional. There's expense, convenience, and then like gaps in nutrition that I'm aware can be filled, but like I guess,
So,
you know,
yeah.
as an animal, I know consuming animal protein, like you have all the things you need in there, right? It's more complete. I know you can supplement and you can get around that for sure, but
Yeah, so have you heard about the study from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that says, I mean, it's not even a study, it's actually a position paper, right? Because they actually looked at all of these, like thousands of studies regarding like plant-based diets, and they came to the conclusion that everybody can thrive on a plant-based diet through all stages of life, right? And there are tons of studies saying that it lowers your rate of getting, you know, heart disease, cancers, diabetes, etc.
yeah, no, I buy all that. I believe it. Yeah, definitely at all life stages. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, you could thrive on a plant-based diet.
Do you still drink like cow's milk?
Oh my God. Okay, so I normally don't, but like the past 3 months, I've been drinking just like an obnoxious amount of cow's milk. I'm so sorry. I know it's terrible, but
For
that's just the
real?
truth. I know. Like I normally don't. Like I know,
Okay.
but it's
Why?
so I moved. It's my boyfriend, and he has like lactate. He wants the lactate. He's like very finicky, and I just go along with it. But like, I normally don't drink cow's milk because I think it's fucking weird that people drink cow's milk. I think dairy
It's
in
it's
general is fucking.
it's weird and it's awful because is your boyfriend listening?
He's right here. Yeah, he's listening along. Yeah,
Yeah.
give him a earful.
Yeah, no, it's awful because the babies are taken from their mothers literally hours after birth, right? Like they take the babies from the mothers less than 24 hours after birth because they don't want them to like keep a bonding after then because it's even harder after 24 hours to like separate them. But even so, of course, they're already bonded and the mothers literally cry out for their babies. They will go and like chase after their babies while the farmers are like forcibly taking them from them and like throwing them in the back of trucks and like driving them off somewhere else, right?
Yeah,
Like
no, it's pretty terrible.
it's awful.
But
And then the babies are there's like little huts that they put the babies in. They just like literally little huts, like they look like big dog houses, and then they feed them with a milk replacement.
I was about to ask. I was like, I have a very practical question. Like, if we're stealing their milk, like the baby cows, still like there's like a formula, like a synthetic sort of formula that they feed them. That's
Yeah.
not made
A
of
lot of
milk.
a lot of the times it is like a milk replacer, like yeah, synthetic formula. Sometimes I've heard different things. I don't know how true it is. Sometimes it's like part cow's milk, but they like fill these containers, or they have like a huge like container that a bunch of baby cows can go around and drink from. And it's just
Yeah.
like terrible to see. They're babies, right?
Yeah. Okay, that was traumatic. I feel bad about my milk situation. And now I want to know.
I have a recommendation first though. So soy milk, actually, I just recently started drinking soy milk like this past year, and it's actually really good. And it's 8 grams of protein per cup, which is awesome. And I think that's more than cow's milk. And it's like really nutritionally like comparable to cow's milk. So definitely try soy milk.
My favorite one that I tried is like the Ripple brand, and it has a mix of like, I think it might be soy, but it's like pea protein. It's like 3 different types of plant protein that they mix, and they get the consistency right. The biggest problem, I know this is like a stupid thing, but like getting it to froth for a latte. I know that's like like I don't care about your baby cows being tortured because I need my milk to be frothed for a latte is like kind of a really fucked up argument, but that's no, I hear it when I'm saying it, but you know.
I feel like soy milk froths well, and so does oat milk, right?
Oat milk is garbage. Like that's just my personal opinion. I'm not like against alternatives. Macadamia is elite. Like if you want it, the flavor of macadamia milk is absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Wait, promotion? No. This is real life.
Yeah, there are very passionate vegans in the chat. So, that's just who we are. But yeah, macadamia milk, is butt. Oh, okay. I would recommend soy milk. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it froths okay. But yes, so dairy is scary. I noticed someone recommended that. Yeah, dairy is scary on YouTube.
Well, dairy's like it. I think it's weird. I mean, yes, for sure because of the animal stuff, but also like it's another animal's milk. I think it's weird. I think a lot of people can't digest it. I think
It's
like,
so weird. Yeah.
like in Asia, like it's not even really a thing. We kind of, as a culture, I think, like in Europe in the Dark Ages, like it was like our emergency food supply. Like I feel like it got us through like the Middle Ages, and then we kind of developed this European culture around dairy, yogurt, and cheese. And I do think it's weird.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's like at least 70% of adults are lactose intolerant, right? And what does that tell you right there? Like we shouldn't drink another mammal's milk, period. Especially not past infancy.
yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Elijah. Yeah. Yeah, so and then let's see. How do I put this?
I'm sorry.
The dairy industry, it's part of, or I guess rather the beef industry is part of the dairy industry, right? Because the cows that the mothers give birth to, they're then either used for their milk like she is, or they're sold for their flesh, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all the same thing, and the same horrible things happen to pigs. Oh my gosh, have you seen the gestation crates that mother pigs are forced to live in?
No, I have not seen those.
Look up gestation crates for mother pigs, and it's just like, it's dystopian. And this is happening to millions of pigs every year. They're in crates so narrow that they can't even turn around.
Yeah.
And they're forced to be in them and feed their babies in them.
And the poor little piggies, they're pretty smart too.
They're so smart. They're so smart. They're smarter than dogs. And can you imagine forcing a dog like into a crate so small and forcing them to just live in it? Like,
Yeah, I do think it's interesting the people who like, bring a dog into their home and treat it like, this is my child and this and that and whatever, and then completely turn a blind eye to like, like what you're talking about, like the stuff that goes on and like the industrialized food system is, super fucked up. I don't think you can find anybody who would argue against that,
yeah, but that's the thing, is people have such cognitive dissonance, right? Like their dogs and cats are their children, but then they're so-called animal lovers, but then they turn around and they're eating a burger, and it's like, you're eating a baby right now. Like,
I always find
it's
it
awful.
interesting, and I guess I haven't really heard this argument made, but like how we have to use code names for like the flesh of these animals that we're using, because like you can't say pig because like you think about it, right? You've got to say pork. Like you can't say like, oh, I'm eating cow. Like you've got to code name everything. But like the chicken, we don't care about that much. Like we can easily make the leap. Like that's just a dumb bird. Like we can get on board with that.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Chickens, it's absolutely insane. Chickens are the most exploited animal in the entire world. It's like there's 92 billion animals that are unalived every year for food. Most of them are chickens. I don't know what the exact number is, but it's like the vast majority of them are chickens.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, the chicken
It's like
houses.
even if you didn't add all of the animals to that number and it was just chickens, it would still be an astronomical number in the billions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in South Carolina, rural South Carolina, right? We have a lot of chicken houses. One of my friends in high school used to work the chicken houses like as a, summer job, and it just awful. You know what I mean? Like, he is not necessarily concerned about animal welfare, but just even the people who have to work in those chicken houses, like, that's how terrible and horrible the conditions are. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly stuff.
Yeah, that reminds me. And the people who work in slaughterhouses, they have some of the highest rates of like domestic violence and like violence in the workplace and stuff like that.
Because it's yourself to the violence you're committing to these animals. So like, I can see how that easily turns.
Yeah. Yeah, and most of these people, they're forced to take this job. Like they, who would want to do that? Like they don't have any other choice. They, are felons or they're immigrants, right? So it's just all around such a horrible industry. And I just wish people actually knew about it and actually took the time to learn about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people are busy with their lives, right? I mean, that's the thing. And it's, everybody's got to eat, right?
Yeah, but we do not have to eat animals or their superfoods.
It's a true statement. We do not have to eat animals. I genuinely recommend that everybody go watch Pluribus. It is because they're solving this issue, right? Like they are going, okay, we've all united, like all 7-8 billion people on the planet, like we've all united. We've adopted this incredibly peaceful sort of just way of thinking and being, and like we're not going to harm anyone and do anything. And like at the end of the day, in order to solve that equation, they actually have to consume. Oh, what do they call it? And anthropathy. Like it's a fun word for cannibalism.
Okay.
They're like, we just have to eat dead people. Like that's how they solve the equation. So I found that interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, people always like to make the argument that oh, but the animals are old, the animals live a good life before they're unalived, and they're 5 years old, which isn't even true. They're unalived as babies. Most animals are unalived just after a few months old. And there are no farmers that are feeding these animals and keeping them around and paying, right, to feed them, to take care of them, etc., because that's not how they make a profit.
Sure. Well, I have a question, I guess, just about veganism in general. I was kind of saying that there's not really one hard and fast way to be a vegan, and you push back on that a little bit, saying, well, there kind of is. Mm-hmm. So could you just, for me, like a working definition of what it means to be a vegan?
Yeah, so as vegans, we want to avoid exploitation of all sentient life as far as practicable and possible.
Okay, so like this Pluribus example, like they wouldn't even harvest plants, right? But they can eat an apple on the ground. So what if it's pretty nasty? Like if you had an animal that was old and died of disease, would you eat the animal protein? Or like an animal that was hit by a car and it's no longer, you know what I mean? Like, is that technically, is there a way to have vegan venison? You know what I mean? Using that definition, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say vegan.
You know what I mean? Using the definition you just gave me.
I get what you're saying. If you want to eat roadkill, I guess that's up to you. Some vegans say that
it's not me. Don't
no, I know. I know.
I'm just saying general.
No, just in the hypothetical, because no, I get it. I get what you're saying. Some vegans would say that it's not vegan though, because you're still seeing that animal as someone to be used, right? Which, you know, I would agree with. Like I wouldn't do that. But I guess technically there wasn't exploitation involved if it's roadkill, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it seems like people do it for different reasons, like the health reasons, like, and I'm definitely like, we consume way too much animal protein, like especially in America, like it's just part of our diet. I think we go overboard with it for sure.
Yeah,
But I do
so
think that, in general, animal protein has a place in like a healthy, balanced diet. I will say that.
yeah, so the thing is like vegans aren't, or how do I put this? People who go plant-based, right, for a diet, they're called plant-based because they're not doing it for ethical reasons. But vegans do it for ethical reasons, right? They do it because they don't see animals as commodities. So like plant-based and vegetarians, for instance, right? They are just doing it for more of a diet or maybe to like reduce their harm or for the environment. Vegans do it more for an ethical reason. I will say, you know, a lot of vegans, including myself, first were plant-based, like because I went plant-based for health reasons. After I watched What the Health, I was like, oh, like meat, dairy, and eggs. Like we've basically been brainwashed our whole lives, like to consume these products from animals when we don't need to.
Egg. Bite me on an egg. You will pry those out of my cold dead hands. I'm so sorry.
Ew. They're chicken ovulations.
Yeah, it's eggs, baby. They're so good. It's nature's perfect protein.
No, they're full of saturated fat and cholesterol.
Yum. You know, I don't know what to say. They're so good. I know this is not the room for that, but
No.
okay, honey, that one gets me. That one gets me. The honey thing. I'm like, okay, like so bees is slave labor. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, bees
Like,
are exploited for their honey. They really are.
Like, I get like when you look at, you know, these houses of like the cows and the chickens and like that's terrible and we really should be doing something different about that. But like somebody who's like hosting bees in their backyard and like harvesting honey and like they're concerned for the health of the colony and like they're really putting out the effort, you know what I mean? And I know the European honeybees, they probably shouldn't be here. Like maybe we should do some native stuff with the honeybees. Like I get that. But I don't know, man. Leave the beekeepers alone. Like, they're not out here.
So the thing is, and I will admit, I did still eat honey for a while, like after I went plant-based. Hi, sweetie. I did. And I feel like a lot of people, you know, kind of are thinking how you're thinking about it. But it is true that like the queen bee is, you know, exploited. She's artificially inseminated. She's like, her wings are clipped so she can't fly away. Like bees are unalived. So
Yeah, Nick. I'm just gonna address Nick. He said my idea of honey production is so idyllic. I'm talking more about like sort of backyard growers. Like I am from rural South Carolina, so like any really industrial food production process is kind of fucked up at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I guess maybe the vegan stuff less so. But even then, okay, here's another argument I've heard a lot of other people make when it comes to harvesting vegetables and foods, like how many life forms are killed, you know, field mice and, you know, whatever else is in the field getting chopped up. Like you can't really avoid that, you know?
Yeah. So here's the thing. And I just want to stop you there for a moment because those animals aren't being directly exploited, right? Like we do have to eat something to survive. So we're not exploiting those animals. Of course, there are going to be some crop deaths when it comes to animals. Unfortunately, we can't control that in the current food system we are in right now. And these animals, a lot of them are going to run away when they see these huge machines coming at them, right? They're not just going to like not do anything. But yeah, of course, there are going to be some crop deaths. But those animals are not being exploited in the way that cows, pigs, chickens, etc. are being forced to be exploited and then unalived for food that we don't even need, right?
For sure. Yeah, that's kind of, there's not much you can do about this. Okay, I'm addressing Nick's thing. He said they stack the bees in crates and trucks and drive them around. Yes, they definitely do that. Like they put them in the back of semis. I've seen this, and it's a thing really in California when it comes to like almond trees, right? So like your almond milk and your milk alternatives, like even your vegan, right? Alternatives are using the bee labor for pollination. That's another thing. So like, I mean, I guess you're not stealing the honey and not eating the honey, but like you're still, if it is genuine bee labor that you're worried about, which is like, it's so silly that I'm saying it, but like it's being used for your standard crops anyways.
I don't know a lot about that. So Nick, if you want to address that, you can go right ahead.
Gotcha. So, I mean, most of the time bees, like, we don't see bees as a big deal, and you're not wrong about like people having, like, somebody having a couple of bee crates in their backyard. Like, that's not a big problem. It's an issue because they're European bees, and it messes with native pollinators. So that messes with like the native microorganisms that like we have these little pools here in California. They're biodiversity pools, and when these European bees get too close, the plants don't get pollinated right. Those don't grow right. But let's go past that. So they stack the bees up and they take them to farms to pollinate things. Now, the way that you preface the almond milk, it's as if they are growing it for the vegans, right? So almonds are part of the United States food system. They grow almonds for everybody. And vegans aren't the ones like running the almond farm. So if vegans were running the almond farms, I would think that we would probably find a way to not stack bees up on flatbed trucks where we're driving them around and bees are getting separated from their colonies as they drive down the road. They fall out of the crates. It's really like stressful for the bees. They're sensitive little bugs. Also, they collect the pollen. So what they'll do, so a bee has a 3-day memory, right? So what they'll do is they'll set up a little screen and the bee flies through the screen and pollen is knocked off of their legs. Okay, and they're bringing the pollen back to feed their larvae and their young. So the pollen is knocked off their legs, and after 3 days, the bees figure this out, and then the farmers remove the screen. And then after 3 days, they start bringing in the regular amount of pollen before. So not only are they exploiting the bees, they're gaslighting the bees. The people are gaslighting insects. That's how far down the rabbit holes this goes. Okay, so these are just some of the things here. And also, like when we take the honey, the farmers replace it with like basically a processed sugar feed. It's like this processed sugar liquid, so we've taken their winter supply of food, of whatever, like good homemade sourdough bread and replaced it with some like Wonder Bread, basically. And then the last thing that I wanted to get to was that it takes a bee, like I think like its entire lifetime to like make like half a teaspoon of honey or something like that. So like what we see is just like, what was that?
For the teaspoon.
Yeah, 1/12. So what we see is just like a little bit of flavor in our coffee is like one tiny bee's work, its life's work to feed its family. And I know I'm really going into this, but I take all these subjects and I love Pluribus. It's an amazing show. Right. And if you go to my page and you go down a little bit, that scene you're talking about where they're all at the dinner table and she lets them know like we would prefer to be vegetarian, that's actually on there because I was cracking up because it was like Thanksgiving dinner. But and the thing with this though, and I don't want to give too many spoilers here, but I shouldn't be ruining things with this. They're doing this to their detriment. Okay, and they talk about this in the show. I don't know how far along you are, but the way they're doing it is like what people would call Jainism, and I thought this was such an amazing thing to show and talk about in the show. And the human-derived protein just like hit me like because we were like, "What's under the oh my God!" And it's a really good direction that they're going. And I like the fact, but what we have here too is practicable and possible. Like I'm having a really bad issue right now and I have to take a certain medication that I know is problematic, but I need it because my life quality got so bad that I couldn't even sleep and things were bad. And so I have to take this for a while and hopefully, I can change my diet or figure out what's going on and get it to fix up. Like, change my diet. Like, is there an inflammatory food? I've already done a few things, but and you, sir, you sound very smart. You sound really close, and you sound like a really empathetic person. So, thank you for listening.
No, I appreciate you coming up and clarifying about the exact process, the screens and the pollen collection. I didn't know anything about that. I guess my main point with also while we're talking about it, sorry, I'm jumping around. What's a good honey alternative? What would a vegan use instead of honey as a sweetener?
If I really wanted honey, what I would do is I would take some pineapple juice and I would put it into a little pot and I would cook it into a reduction of syrup. And that is a really, really excellent honey replacement.
You can actually do that with like any fruit.
Is agave syrup? Is that
agave syrup's really good. I've done a lot of different syrups, but I found the closest thing I've gotten is pineapple juice. And even you can take you can throw a couple dandelions or your flavored flour in there even too when you're reducing the pineapple juice. I've done a lot of syrups. I've done a lot of substitutes, and I found simmered pineapple juice reduction is the closest to honey I can get.
That's good to know. I use maple syrup a lot. I like maple syrup, and maple syrup has a lot of benefits too, antioxidants and stuff. And there are vegan honeys that you can buy. Sometimes they're a little pricey. But I've heard of vegan honeys that people swear taste very similar to honey. So,
well, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Nick. I appreciate your perspective on
that. Thanks for hearing me, man.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions, Zach? If not, I think you should go watch Dominion and Darius Scary.
Yeah. No, I think I'm I'll go check it out. I appreciate you having me up, Sierra.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for coming up. Bye. Okay, let's see. Probably a child, but. Hi, how old are you?
Yo, I'm 25, J.
Are you sure? What year were you born? Yeah, definitely not.
Why does he sound like he's about to cry?
Why did he wait so long just to say that?
Patient trolls.
Like, it seemed like they would at least say something else and just, yo, I'm 25.
Hello?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, what year were you born? Just for TikTok purposes.
2001.
Okay. So do you have a question about veganism? I'm vegan.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to know. So when did you guys start?
I went vegan over 6 years ago.
You said 6 years?
Yeah.
How about the rest?
2019.
Yeah, I just started like maybe 10 years ago.
You just started maybe 10 years ago?
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay, can you tell me what veganism is?
Well, I've been cutting back on eating animals and like eating more like I guess non-animal and like life things.
Okay, so veganism is avoiding the exploitation of other sentient beings as far as practicable and possible. Right. So we don't have to eat animals at all to be healthy. Right. So it sounds like you're still eating animals and their milk and eggs.
Let's see, you said eggs and what?
You are still eating animals and their milk and eggs?
Oh yeah, I still drink milk.
Okay. So, yeah. Vegans don't use animals at all. So why are you still using animals?
No, it's not from an animal.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on because you don't want to have a serious conversation.
Yeah, they seemed confused.
Yeah. It seemed like they were trying to troll and just weren't good at it.
It's funny how patient they are, and then they're like,
I know, right? Okay, well, if there are any animal eaters in the chat, you can request to come up and we will have a discussion with you.
I'd like to say that I really enjoyed. I probably should watch more of them, but I watched her VSLs because she's doing public outreach, and she talked to that girl that walked by, and you did really well. You're doing really well. Not everybody can be like Earthling Ed level patient, but I don't even know what those people in the comments they were like, oh, she was so aggressive. You really weren't. And like, you did such a good job. You're like, you know what? I might get a little passionate about this. You were like setting some pretty good expectations and stuff. And it's a really good videos. I've done stuff like that. I've gone out in public and engaged people before, and it can get pretty interesting. So, you know, you're good for doing that.
thanks, I appreciate it. I definitely was trying to take the advice from, people that I at least respect. So I tried to put that in practice today. So hopefully we got better results. But yeah, I do agree that when people make those comments about the lineup of questions, usually it's just because we're talking about their principles and they feel like they're being pinned on the wall. And that's not the point. It's more like, hey, you actually do agree with us. And it sometimes gets a little frustrating that you just don't want to look at what we're talking about, even though you clearly agree. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, and I also like putting them on the spot, like, oh, okay, so you felt like we were being this way. Like, are you doing this? Do you have some advice about how to do this? And like, okay, oh, well, you're not vegan and you're not doing stuff like this. So, I can see how you would feel that way, but you're not really out here having the conversation. So,
Yeah. It's so wild when people are like, well, I think you would turn more people vegan if blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, like, can you tell me how to do that then? Like, it's nonsense.
Yeah, so tell me your story about how you turned yourself vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm usually pretty open to most any kind like of activism. It might not be my kind of activism, but I think people should go do what they think. Like, I mean, I like the kids that pour the milk on the floor, and I like the people that block the entrance to a slaughterhouse just as much as I like the guys that go out in the street and chat people up about their principles. I think I remember when Zoe and her friends were running out into the courts and gluing their hands. I saw Sierra here in the PETA videos at the marathon and at the run.
Sierra is a freaking beast out there. She keeps going to those runs where they're clearly not for feminist values because they're exploiting women. So yeah, Sierra, you're awesome for being out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this year was a little more tame. We weren't supposed to try to get arrested this year, just kind of because of the political climate, So, but last year was very intense. And I felt like a badass, I'm not going to lie, because I had to be escorted out by police. And a couple of people I was with, actually, they did detain them. They didn't like take them to a jail or anything, but they did put handcuffs on them and hold them for a little bit. But yeah, it was just crazy how security was on our ass as soon as we got there this year, immediately. Like, telling us we couldn't even stand there and hold signs. Like, it was crazy.
I mean, it's out in public, isn't it? Is
So
it on a public sidewalk? I think that's my biggest question.
the starting line, it was at like this huge event center where they do rodeos. So I think it was technically private property. And
It's so rough to work with that. Yeah.
yeah, and so they hired a security team this year, and it was probably just for PETA, because they expected us to come back. And we didn't plan like a big disruption this year. Like it wasn't supposed to be like we stalled at the finish line or anything like that. But I think that's what they were anticipating. So they were just like immediately just like suppressing us. Yeah. So, but then at the finish line, we were able to like hold our sign and banners, even though they tried to turn us away. They tried to make us leave, but we were like, no, fuck you. This is the public sidewalk. Like, we're not stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say though, that's actually a kind of a good sign that you got them to have security, because that's money that they then had to spend that they couldn't put towards the race, and furthering promoting exploitation of the female system.
Yeah, and there were less participants this year, less in-person participants this year as well. So that was good. Yeah, it's just like, the dairy industry, obviously, they just can spend so much money. And it's like, it's like nothing to them, right? However much this marathon costs to put on, it's like pretty much nothing to them. So it's just like you're going up just like this huge industry. And it's just I mean, that's all activism, I guess. So
Yeah, but I do hear you though. Like, specifically, milk has the catchphrase, that we all know. Everyone knows why we consume it, and they think it's because that's the only way to get that mineral. So they've embedded themselves so hard into, I guess, our culture that we think that it's a necessity. And so it's probably one of the biggest conglomerates that we have to go up against, is that, that successful brainwashing.
Yeah, when we switched over, we don't watch a lot of broadcast TV. I've got everything all set up. I'm a computer guy. Everything streams in house or like from specific places. So, we hadn't been watching, the come down and get a meaty McMeat with extra cheese and an extra bit of meat on it today. And then when we do go, we'll like go out. Like we went to where we go last summer, like Duluth for some reason. Anyway, we were staying at like the Airbnb and watching TV, and like even when we're staying at hotels, like even the commercials that aren't for meat, cheese, dairy, and eggs have like some kind of meat, cheese, dairy, and eggs like intertwined in them. And then there's like the fast food restaurant commercials, which is like mascots for kids. They're like getting them while they're young, and they're like, hey, come get your prizes and your toys and your rewards for eating this food.
And like people don't even know that all these advertisements are paid for by the meat and dairy industries.
And even our tax dollars, the Dairy Council, the Beef Council, the Egg Council, all these people take money from the government to run ads. Like the 90s was horrible. It was all like beef, it's what's for dinner, pork, the other white meat, all sorts of, got milk. We were basically indoctrinated. Now their parents, like they're people my age, and indoctrinated their kids, and they're down in the chat being like, ooh, steak's so good, because they think they're edgy. So don't cut yourself at that edge, kids.
Literally. Yeah. It's honestly crazy how we think we can't live without animal products, which is just so far from the truth.
Yeah. Something I wanted to add about like how they influence children, which really is key, because then we're like nostalgic when we're adults. So I used to work in the recreational gardening industry, and there were strict rules on packaging for the gardening things that you could eat, and they couldn't look like anything that would attract children's attention. It's like, well, interesting that all these products like Lunchables, for example, or, I don't know, any other junk food that is like a breakfast cereal or something, they're geared towards children with those same things. It's like, why is it okay for them to advertise, something that's attractive to children like that? And I don't know, that brainwashing, like I said, from childhood then becomes nostalgic.
Yeah, 1000%.
Right? All these brainwashed kids in here talking about their steaks and burgers like that's like, I don't even care. That's between you and the store and the animals. Like, I don't even participate. Like, it's not really much for us. We just kind of move on. We're like, okay, maybe you shouldn't. We don't. And then we go on with our lives. So,
Yeah, it's just becoming more and more bizarre to me. Like whenever I'm in the grocery store and I have to walk by the meat aisle, or I see a video of someone like filming the meat aisle for something, and it's just like, it's just so bizarre to me that this is still a thing and that people are still okay with it. It's like those were all animals. Like,
my biggest, I gotta stop watching recipe videos. I'll be like chilling. I'm like, oh, okay, this looks good. I kind of forget where I'm at and what I'm doing. I'm watching it. And then out comes the egg every time. These people are so uncreative. Out with the egg. Like every recipe. I don't even watch the rest of it anymore. I'm like, all right.
yeah, I feel that. It is pretty disappointing. And then there will be people who have some vegan recipes and then they still use eggs for everything. And it's just like, okay, come on, you're so close.
There was someone we actually talked to on the street that kept bragging that they knew 400 vegan recipes, but they weren't vegan. I was like, what? So like they were a chef and they're like, oh, I know. They literally said, I know 400. And they kept saying it over and over again. It was just like, then why aren't you vegan if you're so, anyway, yeah.
That's so weird. That does remind me. I was going to say when we were at protests for Every Woman's Marathon, the Dairy Milk Marathon, people would come up to us and talk to us and they're like, oh yeah, I don't even drink milk, or yeah, actually I'm vegan. I just signed up for this race because it supports women. And it's just like, you don't understand what's happening in the dairy industry. And like, we would try to, explain to people what's happening and how hypocritical it is, because mothers are literally being exploited. Their babies are being taken from them. They're milked their whole lives. Like, it's just horrific. And people are like, yeah, but go women. And it's like, no, no, don't support a race that is exploiting female animals. Like, they just want your money. They don't care about animals. They don't care about you. They just want your money.
So,
Hi, speaker for them. How are you? Are you there? Oh, I don't know if she knows she's up.
You okay? You okay? It was a little unnerving.
I don't know if she knew she was up here. You only eat vegan meat, Luke? Okay. Are you vegan? Yeah, she said, oops. That's okay. Plants do not cause kidney stones.
Yeah, okay. As somebody that actually suffered from oxalate kidney stones, I haven't had an oxalate kidney stone since I've gone vegan, and it actually has to do with your calcium intake based on the amount of oxalates you're eating in your diet. And you're supposed to just eat more calcium so you can pass the oxalates properly. So let's just knock that out right now.
It's so wild. Well, Luke, I hate to break it to you, but you're eating literal flesh. You're eating literal animal flesh. So why not just eat the plants? The animals get their nutrients from plants. Guess what? You can also get your nutrients from plants. Okay. If you're 18 or over, you can request and we'll have a discussion. Beans give you gas because you're not eating enough fiber. Like, that's why they're giving you gas right now, because you're not used to the fiber. When I first went vegan, I remembered I was like, I'll eat like a can of beans in 2 or 3 days. And like when I first went vegan, that was a lot, but now it's nothing. Like I do not get an upset stomach. I don't get gas, anything like that.
Yeah, actually, I've definitely grown more and more in love with my beans and tofu and tempeh. Like,
Yeah.
I'm now at the point where I like actually do want to eat them raw actually my man's cooking. I'll sit there and steal little pieces.
All right. Yeah, I've been going to work in the morning with like a can of beans, and they serve up potatoes and avocado, and I just mix it all together and eat it. And then that's like it. I don't eat again until I get home at night at like 8 p.m. It's like so filling. And it's like mostly fiber, and it's really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing is like before I went vegan, I always thought, oh, I have to have, chicken or something in my meals so that I feel full. But it's just like that was just something that I was telling myself, right? That's not actually the case. You just have to eat like a variety of foods, like rice, beans, potatoes, and whatever else, and like you will be the same amount of full. Like, don't worry, I promise. You just have to eat.
I was in a kind of place where I always saw meat as a luxury. I didn't actually eat meat with a lot of meals. I had a few friends who were vegetarians, and I'd hang out with them and eat like garden burgers and stuff. And it was never even, I didn't even care. Like I was never even like, oh, why don't you do this? Or why are you doing that? Or why is things like this? I'm like, oh, this is what we're eating? Yep, took a bite. Okay, it's good. Thank you. That's it. Never really, that
Yeah.
was a non-offer, huh? They're just up and down. Yeah. Yeah, I never had a problem with vegan food. Like food is food. It's either good or it's not. The only thing that was hard about vegan is like to replace your staples. Okay, so we're replacing staples. You got eggs, you're replacing eggs. The egg replacement, you figured that out. You're replacing
Tofu.
whatever, some snack and like, yeah, you're replacing bacon, you're replacing scrambled eggs, you're replacing, I used to eat eggs at all sorts of meals. And then, now I just eat other stuff that I have in the house. I got ingredients.
Yeah, exactly. These kids in the chat, they just keep saying the same thing. Like, come up with something original. Also, yeah, people are requesting but won't stay up. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it is funny that they think they're so original and they just literally say the same thing.
Yeah. They're just saying it over and over again. Jonah, I think I tried to bring you up and you immediately dropped down. Are you scared to talk to vegans?
Be eating mushroom steaks. The little what are they called? Meaty.
Okay, yeah, those are good.
Yeah, hello? What up? Yeah. Why can't I turn my camera on?
What up? You guys just broing it up?
Like the
Growing it
background
up.
noise is crazy.
Like, what are they? Were those guys like at school? Like, what is
I
happening there?
know.
They're like in the dorm kitchen. Like,
Literally. I think they're at like a family Christmas party.
broing it up.
Yep. Hey, vegans. Thank you for being here. Shadem? Is that how you say your name? Thanks for being here. Can I tell you my take on what? What did you ask about? I'm not scared, just not ready. Just come up. We don't bite. Okay, now we have some requests.
Hi.
No, you have to be 18.
Hello?
Oh God, what is with these kids?
Are we getting victimized by some Discord chat again?
I hope not.
Maybe the YouTube is collecting the children and bringing them in.
They're just out menacing the internet.
See, that's what happens when you don't get your fiber.
Yeah. Are you good?
Hurt yourself.
Okay.
When a meat eater eats one bean.
Yeah, keep the one.
Yo, what? Hello? Hello?
How old are you?
22.
What year were you born?
What?
What
did you say?
What were they doing? Playing in the toilet? What the fuck?
Hello?
What's your age?
What?
What's your age?
I am 41. I was born in 1984.
These kids all probably smell like vapes and masturbation.
The fuck?
So gross. It's so gross because it's so true.
They all got a can of Axe in the backpack.
Oh my god. The axe. Oh my god.
Poor attempts to cover it up. Man,
So true. I don't know. We keep getting these requests, but they're just like. We keep getting these requests,
Yo.
but they're just.
Yo?
And why does it keep echoing?
Hello? Hello? Pre-debate?
Can we wait a bit? Oh, I already brought this person up, didn't I? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems like this time frame, I don't know why, it's like always children. I don't know how.
the guy you had up when I came on was a real sweet guy. I liked him.
Windbag?
Windbag, yes. He was a very polite windbag.
Wait.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one that she just had up.
No, not that guy. When I came up, the guy that was talking about pluribus.
Yeah, Zach is a nice guy.
But the idea that that's like a perfect society that's been built is like a wild. That's why, like, the premise is like that lady's like angry because it's not a perfect society. There's something very, very fucking wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. Hi, Sevenfold. Are you? I can never remember if you're vegan or not. Yeah, falafel's great. Okay, nice.
Got to go send my letter to Rob Bonta to free Zoe. I think I already did it once. I got to do it a second time.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I really hope she, gets the care she needs.
Yeah, it's pretty upsetting that our justice system doesn't treat like the situation the way it should be, because someone was saving someone versus, saying that she's some kind of thief. I don't know. It's really frustrating because it's not looking at the true facts. It's just fitting some paradigm for those that benefit with this stupid system.
Exactly. Yeah, all you teenagers in the chat, you have to be an adult to debate on TikTok. So nice try.
You have to have enough of a frontal lobe to form an opinion, kiddos.
Yeah, not just think what you're told. So vegans respect animals because we don't use animals, right? We don't exploit any animals. We don't see them as commodities. So we just leave them alone, right? We don't need animals. We are not demanding that they be forcibly bred into existence and then exploited and then unalived, because we don't need to. We don't need to use anything from them. No, I don't think people are evil for eating meat. I think that people need to look into it, right? They need to do their own research and realize why it's such a horrible, exploitative industry. And there's no way around it unless you don't support it. Yeah, I mean, free range, it's really just a label that makes the product look more appealing to consumers. Free range doesn't really mean anything. A lot of the times most of the animals don't even get to go outside. And even then they're still exploited and they're still killed for food when we don't need to do that. What diet would I recommend for someone trying to be vegan? I mean, veganism isn't a diet, but it's not exploiting others, right? So we don't believe in eating animals or their milk or eggs.
Diet that we recommend is one free of sentient beings.
Yeah. Carnivores and vegans have different lifespans for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do actually. Vegans on average live longer.
Yeah, I'm hitting that age where I'm seeing people's meat habits catch up with them. So I kind of caught mine early. They were like, you can take these pills, you can stop eating all these things. So I stopped eating all the things. Right now, I'm just trying to exercise more because my back's been sore. But I did this week, and it felt great. Ate a lot of really healthy, just plant-based food, high protein, plant-based tofus and beans, and moved around a lot. Just calorie deficit, lots of movement. Should feel good.
Yeah. People who eat a plant-based diet also recover quicker from, like working out and sports.
Yeah, Game Changers, I feel like was really motivating for some people that care about the health aspect because it showed, these really healthy individuals and still showing the immediate reactions to when the difference between eating animal-based foods versus plant-based foods. I thought it hit the important notes that people care about. Their blood, their love life, their ability to look good.
Right. What's a liberal, Jonah? I don't know what that means. Can you explain it to me?
Hey, Nika, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you for the heart me. Hope you're doing well. Carbs aren't the enemy. Our body literally needs carbs to work. Yeah, actually saturated fat and cholesterol, they cause like high blood pressure, so all the same people are in the request. How old are you? No, fish isn't vegan because fish are also sentient beings. You should watch Seaspiracy or Eating Our Way to Extinction.
Like it's on Amazon Prime Video, the Eating Your Way to Extinction. Also Tubi, which I've only used because I watched Pignorant on that Tubi. But Amazon
I don't know.
Prime.
There's a TikTok rumor that there's a Juggalo Twilight on Tubi.
There's a what?
Juggalo Twilight. I take responsibility for my own For You page. Okay, but the clips are just they're funny. They're objectively funny when I see them. I don't know why they pop up. I'm not into that stuff. Maybe it's because I think maybe it's because I'm into like absurdist humor or something. Maybe that's why it's popping up. I don't know.
Probably.
Well, anyway, the eating Our Way to Extinction is on there, and Apple TV too.
I was all stand there and he's like sparkling or whatever, and she's like, "It's so beautiful," and he turns around, he's all, "It's dandruff."
Ew. What is happening? I can't. You should not go on a keto diet. Like it's pretty much the same thing as the carnivore diet, and you shouldn't do it. Like doctors do not recommend it. And you should just go on a plant-based diet if you're going to do that. Like it doesn't make sense.
I remember the time I handled beef liver, and then I like basically never ate meat again because I was so grossed out. Somebody in here is like, "Beef liver is the healthiest food you can eat." Like have somebody handle some beef liver, then talk to that. They'll be a little more open to not eating meat.
Did you get like vitamin A toxicity from eating too much liver too frequently?
Yeah. Yeah, just because you feel good now on a carnivore diet doesn't mean it's not going to catch up to you. Right? Meat is literally a carcinogen. And
Yeah, I'm actually. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to add that I'm terrified for the future when we watch a large group of people just start to keel over because they've all started to invest in this diet.
Oh yeah, all these carnivore and keto bros and paleo bros. Like I was doing all right, and I got to my doctor, and he was like, "What are you still doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I was like eating this," and he's like, "Okay, well, don't." And I don't know. I made a lot of switches based on doctor conversations. And then my wife and kid love animals, so I started holding that over their heads to get them to join in.
Right on.
Forced it on my family successfully. Applaud me, everyone.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Someone I was talking to a couple weeks ago, he was telling me that he, quote, went vegan for a while, but he got so sick, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what were you eating? And then he ended up telling me that he didn't actually go vegan, right? But he cut out like all sugar, all carbs, just like everything. Just like switched up his diet to like such an extreme degree. And it's like, bro, you didn't go vegan. Like you went on an extreme diet. Like
An elimination diet.
yeah. You did not go vegan. And he just it was so annoying. It's
Yeah,
like,
people really get fixated on that because they normally see that vegan label on food. And I mean, I guess, when you watch clips, as activists, we talk about that a lot because that's where a lot of the exploitation happens. But yeah, it's clearly more than that.
yeah.
Asking if humans are the same. We feel the same about humans and animals, and I keep reminding them, right, guys? We don't eat people either as vegans.
Yeah, you can request to have a discussion if you are 18 or older. I'm gonna go feed my. I'll still be here though. Hi, how old are you?
18,
What year were you born?
2007.
Okay. So why aren't you vegan?
Because I like hunting and fishing too much.
Okay. Does someone else want to take this while I feed my cat?
Sure. So can you say what it was you just said again? Sorry, I was messing with my YouTube.
Oh, it's fine. I like hunting and fishing a lot.
Oh, okay. What is it about hunting and fishing that you enjoy?
It's just peaceful and relaxing.
All right. Have you ever tried doing anything else out in nature that would also be relaxing, like taking pictures or,
I hike.
Okay. So, what is it about the animals that, in your mind, makes it moral to go out there for fun and, pew pew them? I say pew pew because it's TikTok stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I'm superior to a deer or a fish.
Okay. But if someone felt superior to you, do you think that that would be a just reason for them to use you for their purposes?
Well, I'm a human now.
Right. It wouldn't be fair. Why?
Because I'm a human and I have rights.
What kind of rights? What do you mean?
Well, if people unalive me, then they'll go to jail.
Oh, so you just mean legal rights?
Yeah.
Do you think that legality equals morality?
Well, not in all cases.
Yeah, like we can have a law that's not moral, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we do have laws that aren't moral.
Yeah. So, let's say that you're in a place that has no laws. Would you still find hunting moral if it was more commonly done to humans?
No.
We're overpopulated, right? We spread disease. We're getting hit by cars. Would that be a good justification?
No.
I agree. So what is it for you that says that we should respect humans? What is so special about humans?
We can make conscious moral decisions.
Okay. Anything else?
Not Ma. We've also built a society, and I feel like a cat wouldn't be able to do that.
Sure. There are, maybe you don't know, but do you understand that there are humans out there that are not capable of doing the same things as you and I, or even, let alone build a building?
Yeah.
Okay. Why should we respect those individuals?
Well, because they're helping us build a society.
What if they don't? What if they're just homeless people now?
Well, then other people will do it.
Right.
Or are we doing a hypothetical like all of them are?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to test your logic, that's all.
Okay.
I want to see if you're consistent. So if someone isn't providing anything for society, and maybe they don't understand morality, but they're not hurting anyone, would it be okay to exploit them?
No.
I agree. So why are we respecting that individual still? What is it that we don't want to infringe on?
They're a human.
Yeah, what is it that humans are going through that we're trying to respect?
We have feelings.
Yeah, exactly. We're having our own subjective feelings. So that means that we care about what happens to us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've found actually through science that animals also care about what's happening to them. Do you understand that? Or I don't know if you've heard that before.
I've never heard of a study like that.
Yeah. So there's the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness and the New York Declaration of Consciousness. And they look at thousands of behavioral studies, and they also look at their anatomy. And they came to the conclusion that animals, specifically mammals and many other animals, are sentient, meaning they're having their own subjective experience and, making preferences and having emotions.
Okay.
And I would encourage you to go check that out. But hearing that information and understanding that animals are sentient, does that change your mind on using them for food, clothing, entertainment, etc.?
I guess a little bit.
Yeah. That's where vegans are coming from. We're recognizing that animals are more of a someone than we thought before because they're sentient just like us. And if you look at a human and you remove their sapience, that ability to think about thought, we find that there's really no difference between us. And having the strength of intelligence doesn't really give you the moral right to dominate someone else. And we're just saying the animals are sentient. They care what happens to them. And even though they're a different DNA, we don't have the right to oppress them. Would you agree?
I guess so.
All right. So what's stopping you from leaving this conversation vegan?
Say that again.
What's stopping you? What do you think might be holding you back from leaving this conversation and living vegan?
Some financial stuff.
Okay. Well, let's start. I don't know if I actually define veganism. Do you know what veganism means?
Not really, no.
Okay. I'm sorry for that. I should have said that in the beginning. So, veganism is just a principled stance against the exploitation of other beings. So if there was a product on the shelf that was from someone exploiting you, I wouldn't buy that product because I know that you're a sentient being who cares what happens to you. And if I was you, I wouldn't want to be exploited. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that sound like it aligns with your principles?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So is there something that's maybe like practical that's standing in your way? Is it, you said financially, is it too, you think it's too expensive?
Well, yeah, and I'm still in high school, so I live with my parents, and
Oh,
they
are you
are
over
like,
18?
no, I am 18,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but they're really big meat eaters, so it would just be hard to do that, and I only work part time, so
If you spoke with them about what you were learning about and, you know, what you truly want to do, would they respect that, or would they just not listen to you?
I mean, I don't really know. I've never really talked to them about that stuff. I just kind of go along with whatever they do.
Well, so the way I went about it, my family's not vegan. And honestly, what I would suggest is, since you're learning about it, is to ask them to look at the same information that you are and possibly maybe go watch some documentaries. I always recommend Dominion. It's free on YouTube, but I know that there's other ones that are great. The Eating Our Way to Extinction is another great documentary that I think you can, if you just Google, you'll find where to watch it. You can find them on YouTube. Dominion's free. I think Eating Your Way to Extinction, you might have to buy that one, but it's both great films. You might have access maybe on Netflix. I don't know if it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
So would you be willing to watch a documentary maybe with your parents to possibly be have more opportunity to do vegan things, to actually live vegan?
Yeah, I'd be willing to.
All right. I would say start there. And then in the other, you have other options. I'm sure you have control over when you like leave the house or when you're out with your friends. Like you buy your own food when you're out and about. So in those times, you can choose for yourself what kind of person you want to be. Do you want to give the money that you've worked hard for to someone that's doing things to animals that you wouldn't tolerate if you saw it right in front of you, you know? You can ask yourself, if I want to give my money to someone that every day is slitting the throats of animals.
Yeah, that's something I never really got, is just like kind of the inhumane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've worked at a farm quite a bit, and the places we usually sent them, there's this air compressor thing where it shoots like a 22 or something, and it just like right in the head and it instantly kills them. But I've heard of places that just don't do it humanely like that.
Well, either way, let's say you have three options in front of you. You have the bolt gun option, or should I say the bolt pew pew option?
Yeah.
The, I don't know how else to call it, maybe a halal or kosher method, or not having it done to you at all.
I mean, I'd prefer to have it not done to me.
Exactly. And for you, for your choices, where do you think that you come into this? Like, why would we be asking you to change your habits?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you care about them, I guess?
Yeah, but do you know, like, we're talking about the levers that you can pull on as a consumer in a capitalist system. You have the ability, you know, your dollar is like voting. So when you go into the stores, or even when you go to a friend's house, but most often when you're using your money to buy animal products, you're telling the producers that make those that you like their product, you like the price, and that you want them to make more. So they replace what you purchased. So when you pick up an animal product, you're directly, funding the next animal to go into that system. Someone is born, despite what they want, they're born with your purpose on there for you to go buy them. Mm-hmm. Does that sound fair?
Not really.
Yeah. Do you feel comfortable giving your money to someone who does that to animals?
I mean, when you put it like that, not really.
Yeah. I know they dress it up when you go to the stores, the restaurants, they want you to buy those things. That's why they have them there. But that's the facts of it. You're paying for someone to lose everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, from now on, would you be willing, at least until you watch that documentary, Would you be willing to go plant-based, meaning no buying of animal products until you watch that documentary?
Like zero, like absolutely nothing animal.
Yeah, like you would if you were vegan. Because right now it sounds like you don't even, like most people, I want to be clear that I'm not saying that you're like ignorant. It's that most people are kept away from what happens, and we only see the pictures that these farmers and producers want us to see, these happy animals that appear to be consenting almost to us using them, right? You see happy animals in fields and whatnot when you go to the store and you buy products. I'm just saying, when you go into the store, they want you to buy those animal products. They're going to tell you the animals don't care. If you watch the documentary Dominion, you'll understand what's actually happening.
Okay.
So what documentary are you going to go watch?
Dominion and eating our way to extinction.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. So I would do that first. And like I said, maybe ask your parents if they'd be willing to watch it with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Was there any questions that you had?
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, I'll leave you with one last question. Given what we've talked about, how many more animals do you want to be exploited for you?
I guess, like, not a lot.
What's the number?
I guess 0.
Right. Well, and I agree. And if that truly is how you feel, the only way to do that is to live vegan.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you sound distant. Did I say something wrong?
No, I'm just thinking, like, I'll be honest, I've probably spent a little more than I should have on fishing gear. And, like, if I go vegan, like, man, I'm going to have to, like, sell all that stuff.
I mean, there's things you can do with fishing gear that don't involve taking a fish out of their home. There's people that like to go and, they like to do the fly fishing movements out in a field. Or, you can connect a magnet to it and do magnet fishing. You can find a lot of cool stuff that's left in the bottom of the water.
Yeah.
Well, and I hear your pain that you're losing potentially some kind of hobby, but there are other hobbies that involve sitting out in nature and still enjoying what's around us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I feel like maybe we've come to an end to the conversation. I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll probably get off my phone's almost dead anyways. Thanks for, I guess, just being respectful, because I've been on lives where they're, like, screaming and stuff, so.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, we're trying to stop people from, like, kicking dogs, and it can
I would never kick a dog.
Yeah. And if you saw someone kicking a dog, you'd probably yell at them, right?
Oh, I'd probably be fighting them.
Yeah. I bet. Exactly. I feel the same. That's actually why I do advocacy. If someone was kicking a dog, I'd speak up.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, if you do watch Dominion, please reach out to us. Let us know what you think, okay?
All right. You guys have a good one.
You too. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
You seem nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I feel like I might have overwhelmed him, maybe.
Stoner. No. You did a good job. Hi. Hi, Big Nick. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Hey.
We got this guy down here, not surprised, and he keeps prefacing to people, if you had the choice between saving a human and saving a chicken, which one would you save? And I'm like, okay, like who's the human? And they're like, a random human. And I was like, who's the chicken? Is this like my pet chicken that I have? And he's like, it's a random chicken. And I'm like, I'd probably try to save both.
Right.
And he's like, well, you can only save one. And I'm like, well, I reject your paradigm. I would try to save both. Like,
Right.
because this isn't like a one or the other situation. Like, we can care about both of these things. I always make the joke, we don't eat humans, but, giving animals consideration doesn't mean not caring about human issues. It's such a ridiculous question. And he was just so like,
Yeah, it's a false dichotomy.
Really, you don't need me.
It is. They come in with a false dichotomy, try and get like an emotional reaction. It's like, I don't know. Like if I rolled up and there was somebody I didn't like and my pet chicken, I would save my pet chicken. But honestly, even if I didn't like the person, I would probably try to save them both because,
Yeah,
You
we
know,
don't
I'm just
have to
not.
save one or the
Yeah,
going vegan. Like that's not what it is at all. So it
I don't know.
literally is just a false dichotomy.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever saw that guy,
Deals with that all
and
the time.
like somebody tried to like ambush up and ask him like should we be able to have this or have that? And he's like, well, really, we should have both. And he's like, well, that's not the question. He's like, well, that's my answer. And I was like, you know what? I like that because you know what? Reacting like this just lets the person know and the people watching that that's just a completely, like you said, false dichotomy. It's a false paradigm. And you can reject these people's paradigm and let them know that like it is possible for us to care about animals enough to like not eat them and rescue them, but also be involved in like maybe setting up food pantries and going to human-centric protests. These things are not mutually exclusive, and your paradigm sucks.
Yeah.
Pantry over here, not a food pantry, I don't know what they're called, like a food bank kind of thing where they meet up every Wednesday and Saturday, and they give away free vegan groceries, and they provide a vegan potluck, and it's an awesome
That's
thing.
awesome.
I'm really glad it exists over here and need more of that.
Yeah, there's actually something like that in New York City too, on Long Island and in Brooklyn, which is really cool. So it's good to know that there are other ones too.
It's called Food Not Bombs.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of them.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hi there, how old are you?
45.
Okay, great. What would you like to discuss about veganism?
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, vegans are all about the sentinel animals, right?
Sentient animals, yes.
Yes. So it's all don't hurt the sentient animals, right?
Yeah, because all animals are sentient, just like us. So we wouldn't want to be hurt, and we
But
know
what-
they don't want to be hurt or exploited.
Okay.
So
So I got a
we are-
question for you.
yeah, hold on. I was just going to finish.
Okay.
So as vegans, we avoid exploitation as far as of sentient beings as far as practicable.
Okay. So what about sentient beings killing sentient beings, as in bears killing fish to eat because they have to, or eagles killing fish, or a rabbit, or
Yeah,
is
so
that okay?
yeah, so they're living in a survival situation where that's what they need to do, right? They can't go to a hold on. They can't go to a grocery store like you or I have the option to do. Also, they're moral patients. So they don't necessarily know right from wrong or have a moral compass like we do. We're moral agents. So we can make moral decisions.
Yeah, well, so on one thing you're saying these animals are smart, these animals have feelings, these animals they know fear, but on the other part you're saying, yeah, but they got to do it to survive, so it's okay, right?
Well,
I'm not picking. I'm just trying to get my head around how you guys are thinking.
Did you actually understand what I just said, or are you being obtuse on purpose because you don't want to understand what I just said?
No. I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so do you understand what the difference between a moral agent and a moral patient would be?
Not really.
Okay.
Morals.
Okay, yes. So humans, we can make moral decisions. We have a moral compass, right? We have a consciousness, so we know when something is wrong or when something is right. So for instance, do you think going out and just kicking dogs is okay?
It depends what the dog's doing. If the dog's biting my child, I guarantee you that dog.
No. Just going out and kicking a dog on the street. Do you think that's okay? Just a random dog you come across?
No.
Yeah.
That's about that's just cruel.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So-
killing an animal is not cruel because you're actually going to use the animal.
Okay, hold on. So you agree that unnecessarily exploiting or hurting an animal is wrong, right? Because you don't have to do it and because that animal's having an experience. Yeah?
Not always.
What do you mean, not always?
I think there is times that if an animal's there, it's got to be killed.
If an animal's there, it's got to be killed.
If a bear wanders into a playground full of children,
that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but what you guys are saying?
Hold on.
I mean, I live in an area with bears, and that doesn't really happen. Just so you know.
Yeah, and hold on, because that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about unnecessary exploitation. We're talking about going. You got to stop interrupting me when I'm speaking, because I literally can't hear what you're saying when I'm speaking, right? And it throws off my train of thought. We're talking about unnecessary exploitation, meaning we're talking about animals who aren't doing anything to us, right? We're not talking about like defending ourselves from an animal, right? So would you agree that we should just leave animals alone that are minding their own business, and we shouldn't harm them or exploit them?
No, I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that? So no. You're okay with just harming whatever animals you see?
If not just harming, I agree with killing them, processing them, and eating them if they're going to be used. Now, if you're going to waste this animal to kill it and just let it sit there,
but Captain, the animal doesn't
necessarily good.
The animal doesn't care.
Captain. That happens all the time, Captain, with animals. They waste them. They
are they wasted? Are they wasted, or does another animal?
Yeah, but hold on. I just want to make the point that the animal doesn't care, right? The animal only cares about their life, and they care about you taking their life from them, just like you or I would, just like a dog or cat would. They don't want their life taken from them. Neither do any of these other animals. They don't care. Hold on. They don't care what you do with their body after you unnecessarily kill them. Yeah? So just because you're saying, oh, like I respect the animal after I kill it, like that's just to make you feel better. That doesn't do anything for the animal.
Like I said, I'm a commercial fisherman. I kill millions of pounds of fish a year. Right?
That's destroying the ocean too. And
no, I'm not destroying the ocean. I am.
All those fish are sentient individuals. Every single one of those fish, they're all sentient, feeling individuals. Yeah. They feel. Yeah. They fight for their lives. If you want to say something, Laura, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I don't think he realizes what the harm he's doing in the oceans. We are getting dead zones with coral, and if we lose our coral reefs, we're not gonna be around. We're not gonna have anything. So your commercial fishing is tearing up the oceans and taking out the fish that you don't need to do that to. This is in the trillions of fish. And 93.5 billion land animals are unalived every year.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally ruining our oceans. Like these huge fishing trawlers, they go for miles long. They literally sweep up anything along the ocean floor. So, Captain, you are muted. I don't know if you knew that, but you can unmute yourself now.
Okay, now you guys are linking all fishing under dragging, which is not true. That very destructive. Dragging's only been around for 50 years. And it's done more damage. Can I please finish? I'm sorry I interrupted you before, but every time I've tried to speak, I've been interrupted too. Dragging, this is something I know 10 times more than any of you guys are ever going to dream about knowing. Dragging, horrible fishery. The hook and line fishery actually is not bad. Fish do not have feelings like we do. They don't experience pain.
That's not true at all.
Yes, it is. 100% it is.
That's not true. I'm not going to let you come up here and spread disinformation. That's absolutely not true. Fish feel pain. There have been studies on fish feeling pain. Fish are even self-aware. A lot of fish are, right? Fish even use tools. Like, this is disinformation at its finest. And you didn't reply. Hold on one sec. You didn't reply to the sentience, right? I mean, I guess you did with that comment, but you're just looking over them being sentient individuals, which is the important thing here. That's why we're vegan.
Yeah, but you show me a study or prove to me that fish can feel pain and fish can feel fear.
They have nociceptors just like we do, and just like other animals.
No, they don't. No.
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
Look up the zebrafish study. They actually so what they did is they had two different tanks and they put the fish in there, and the fish one tank had recreational toys and the other one was barren. All the fish went into the recreational one. The second time around,
You know why?
hush for a second, let me finish. So the second trial, some of the fish were given something that gave them pain, and in the barren tank was put a medicine that would relieve such pain. So the fish all went down to these tanks. They went into the recreational area, but the ones feeling the pain went into the barren tank and they stayed there. That shows they feel pain and they change their behavior. They want to alleviate it.
And they have, communities. They have their own communities.
That's not true.
I mean, if you're going to deny reality, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just dropped him because, that's just pathetic. No, that's not true. Literally, we just named studies.
Yeah, Ozell even said that he's talked to this person apparently and read him that very study.
Pathetic.
Are you feeling okay? He had his surgery. Hopefully he's feeling okay.
Yeah, how you doing?
Controller then, right?
Yeah, you were spreading disinformation and you just kept denying everything we said, even when we provided studies, and you couldn't give us anything. You just said, no. Like, you're not being rational. We can't have a conversation with someone who's not rational. Dober, are you over 18?
Yes, I'm over 18.
How old are you for TikTok purposes?
30.
I can't hear you with the background. It's really loud.
I'm sorry, I'm not working right now. Let me try to go to a quiet place. I'm 30 though.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I think the name of that study was just pain management in zebrafish.
Okay. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, I watch a lot of vegan debates, like, Joey Carbstrong and Earthling Ed. I've seen the documentaries and stuff, and I'm still not a vegan, though. And I feel like I've come to the conclusion that I don't think animals deserve the level of moral consideration that vegans go for. Not that they don't deserve any moral consideration, just not to the level that vegans want to see. That makes sense.
Okay, why would you say that?
I would just say due to the fact that they're not humans. I don't put them on the same level as humans, and thus I don't think I would give them the same rights as humans.
Okay, so that's fine. Vegans aren't saying that excuse me, that you have to put animals on the quote same level as humans. I'm going to mute you while I'm talking because that's really distracting. But you should respect animals enough not to use them, right? Because you know yourself that they are sentient beings and that they care what happens to them and that they feel pain just like we do. So we should respect them enough not to use them.
Right. I get that's your vegan stance, but I don't agree with that. I don't think they deserve that level of respect. I think there's even some uses and benefits to ignoring their sentience. I'm not going to deny their sentience. I'm not like the other guy. I understand they feel pain, of course.
Yeah, but you just
they are
said,
sentient, all this stuff.
yeah, you just said ignoring their sentience. Like, do you understand how awful that sounds? Like, what if we were saying
I
about
get
cats and
it.
dogs? Should we ignore their sentience? Should we just treat them however we want to treat them? Go around kicking
I
dogs and
think,
cats?
well, I don't think there's any like benefit to that. I think those type of acts can show like psychopathic. Like I think there's even studies that show that people who do treat those type of animals that way in that sense are linked to being more sociopaths. So I don't agree with doing that for that reason. But it all comes back to just the benefit of humans.
That's why you don't agree with it, because because studies show that those humans are sociopaths? Or do you
disagree with
not
that?
agree with kicking cats and dogs because they feel pain?
Here's the thing. I wouldn't do it personally. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't kick a dog or a cat just to kick them.
Right. Because they have an experience and you wouldn't like that experience, so you understand they wouldn't like that experience.
I don't know if it's necessarily for that reason. Like I said, I think it's more so to do with the fact that someone who is more inclined to do that is probably more inclined to also hurt human beings. So I think someone who does do that should be, maybe locked up, prosecuted, because
I
it's
mean,
like,
you
no,
could
that might
say
be a
the same
sociopath.
thing. You could say the same thing about people who work in slaughterhouses. People who work in slaughterhouses are more likely to SA people.
I've heard Joey Carbstrong say that as well too. I don't know. I mean, is there other jobs that are also linked to higher SA rates? Like, aren't police officers more likely to unalive and beat their wives?
So that's
I
the
mean,
thing,
like,
is
does that
that
mean?
is that your point about not wanting to harm cats and dogs because those humans might be sociopaths? Like, that's the thing, is like the logic isn't logicking, right? You're just
How
saying that
so?
because you don't want to admit that all animals are just as sentient as cats and dogs, and we shouldn't harm those
No.
animals either.
Well, no, I agree that they're sentient. I've never doubted that in this discussion. I'm just saying, like I said, I care to the point of eating them. Like, I don't really care that much to the point of not eating them, like being vegan and not using them for like medical researchers and stuff, and to better the human race. That's where I draw the line, and that's where I think vegans don't draw the line, which I think is flawed. To an extent.
Can you say that again? Can you say that last part again? Just so I
You
understand.
mean the part where, well, I'm saying I'm not denying cats and dogs sentience. I understand they're just as sentient as a fish or the cow, whatever. I'm just saying that I care to the extent of we should still be able to eat them, to research on them, for medical purposes or whatnot.
We don't
As
need,
long as
yeah,
they're
we don't need
benefits.
to use, animals for research anymore, right? We have the databases. We have human models now. We have human organ models that are just as good as, or better actually, because they're human organ models compared to researching on animals. We don't have to do that anymore. And it's like 95% or 99% of animal experiments, I mean, they don't matter anyway, because humans are completely different from animals.
Okay, that's fine. And here's it. If you want to just use a hypothetical, like I would say hypothetically, if it was to benefit to humans, I would be okay with experimenting with that. But if you're saying that it's basically a waste of time, then fine. Let's not waste our time then.
It is.
I mean, are people still doing it though? Why are people still doing it then?
Because they are getting the money to do it, basically. It's because our government is still giving them money to do it.
So why don't you focus your efforts on at least that? You know, if you care so much about that, I feel like that's the least you get these days. Like,
Vegans do.
not eating meat.
Hold on. Vegans do focus on that as well. Just because you see vegans having discussions on TikTok doesn't mean we don't do anything else.
Okay, that's good then. That's good for you. I mean, like I said, honestly, still don't really care like that, to be honest. Like, if people want to do it, if it's for money or whatever, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I wouldn't do it myself personally if you're saying that's a waste of time. But I'm just saying, if it were not, hypothetically, then I would be still okay with experimenting on animals in that sense. Hypothetically, if it actually helped the human race.
Yeah, it's just like I understand that you're not vegan and so you don't have the same mindset we do. It's just sad that you don't care, like how the animals don't want to be exploited and they don't want to have chemicals dumped in their eyes or in their wounds. Like, it just sounds like you need to see it for yourself, maybe.
No, I mean, like I said, I watched Joey Armstrong, Earthnet. I've seen the documentaries. Like, I see what goes on in the slaughterhouses. Yeah, and also I'm Nigerian, so I've seen people actually. I've even unalived animals myself. I don't care. Like, I don't really. Like, I don't know why people care so much. They're just animals.
Really?
You're just an animal too.
Yeah, but I'm a human. Though. That's the difference. I'm a human.
Oh, what's so special about humans?
What's so special about humans? I don't understand the question. Are you guys not humans?
No, what's so special about humans that we shouldn't exploit humans, but it's okay to do it to animals?
Because I'm a human, my mom's a human, your mom's a human. I think every human understands this, that we are most important.
Yeah, you're just begging the question. Can you tell me what's so special about humans and not animals?
I think it's literally just being human. Like, I've heard Earthnet say, "Oh, your species is." Yeah, I guess if you want to call it that. Maybe I am that.
You're begging the question, though. You're just saying because we're humans. No, you need to explain what is the trait that humans have that animals don't have that makes it okay to exploit animals but not humans.
I guess I'll put it that way. I guess I'll put it this way. You know how cows are cows and humans are a whole different species? I think that difference in and of itself is the important part of it. I think just...
I can't do that.
Bro, we're human though, you know, because humans are humans and cows are cows, and I'm a human and they're a cow. So like, went and kicked the cow in the face, and it was all good, bro.
Like, wow. Go ahead.
Like the YouTube chat was also going on there. Like, what if it was Yoda or like Superman? Would you also feel okay oppressing them? They're not human. I know they're made up, but sometimes people can imagine.
My guy, have you heard about the way some of the people in our government talk about the people in the country you say that you're from? Like,
Yeah, he just was not capable of having the conversation, unfortunately.
I've been saying more often lately, I've been saying, like, honestly, the more I think about it, when animals don't have rights, we're literally saying that we don't have rights, because we're saying when we use animals, we're saying it's okay to use an arbitrary trait, like racism, right? To use against somebody in order to get benefits, regardless of what they want, regardless of the fact they feel. And so, yeah, it's another like selfish reason, in fact, to be vegan and even an activist, because if it were you in the cage, you know, what would you want someone to do? So, yeah.
and it leads to people in boats being blown out of the water in the ocean.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, people think they're so edgy when they're just like, I just don't care. I just don't care what happens to animals. They're just animals.
I was letting you guys talk. I usually like to ask them when they stopped caring. I was like, I know,
Yeah,
you
that's
know, I know I loved animals when I was a little kid, and I like to go to zoos and petting zoos and stuff, but I can't pinpoint where I stopped caring, but there was somewhere there. And then, you know, I cared again eventually in life, but you know, it's like, when did you stop caring that much? You know what I mean? Because that's kind of, yeah, it's like the contrarian, just being contrarian to be
yeah,
contrarian.
100%. And he probably has some stuff to work through because he was like, I've even unalived some animals. It's like, okay, bro. Well, that tells me what I need to know.
I mean, there's this really sweet older guy I work with, and I remember I was going up to the sanctuary here, and he was asking me, and he's from South America, and he's like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I was like, "Oh, we're going to go up to the sanctuary, and we're going to meet some of the pigs," and he was like, "Oh, I didn't know places like that." And wait a minute, and I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "You know, some pigs, like this pig was like fell out of a truck, and she had babies, and they were distributed. It was the whole story. So now there's all these pigs." And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I didn't know these places exist. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's like farm animal sanctuaries where like cows and pigs and goats and chickens and turkeys are rescued, and they take them and people care for them like their family and stuff. And he was like, and mind you, this man is really sweet. I wasn't trying to make any implications with them and anything. And and he was like, oh, he was like, where they can be safe from like people like me. And I was like, oh my God, Alan, please no. Like, you're like the sweetest guy I know. I wouldn't say that, but he was telling me like after that conversation about some like he almost described it like a trauma where like the whole village there down in South America had maybe like basically like, and they probably just all wanted some foods. It's what they do there in different places, and they basically like drugged the cow out and unalived it together like as a village. And I was like, wow, that's some like pretty crazy heavy indoctrination. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Barry, are you 18 or older?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Do you have a question about veganism, or can you answer why you aren't vegan?
I can answer why I'm not vegan. I just can't afford it. Plus, my body is deficient in most minerals that only meats have.
Okay, so what if we told you that vegan diets are actually on average cheaper than omnivore diets?
Where I live, that isn't true.
Do you
At
live
least
in-
where I go shopping, most vegan foods are more expensive besides just raw vegetables.
Beans, rice, frozen vegetables, tofu.
Tofu is about the same cost per pound as chicken.
How much is tofu, would you say?
Where I live, it is $7.38 a pound, which is a lot.
How much is in a container of tofu?
A container of tofu is 1 pound, usually.
Is it really?
There are bigger containers, but if I find one that's 3.5 pounds, it's like $30.
Okay, so like, where do you live? Like, you don't have to tell us exactly where, but I'm just like, do you live in Hawaii?
Obviously, I live in the United States, the Midwest, specifically.
You live in the Midwest. Tofu is not over $7 in the Midwest.
I mean, I don't mean to validate like bad like things here, but I had a buddy out there in the Midwest, and I actually went and looked up where he was at.
More Appalachia than the Midwest. I live in Ohio specifically.
I didn't want to believe my buddy, but when I looked up his store, there like wasn't even a grocery store in town. He was telling me how he could like basically only get dry goods. I felt bad for him.
Beans and rice are very cheap and very cost effective.
Yeah. I mean, beans and rice are great staples. There's also lentils. You can get dry lentils. You can make a lot of things out of, beans, rice, lentils, frozen veggies, stuff like that. There's all sorts of stuff out there. Like, you don't have to buy the vegan, specialty products if you don't want to.
Fair enough. There's another reason why I'm not vegan, and it might shock a lot of you. I just think meat. I've been eating meat my whole life, and I think it tastes good. which
Frankly, that doesn't shock anyone. That's the most common thing people say when they're talking to vegans.
that and another reason is because most food animals, that being pigs, goats, chickens,
They're not food
cows,
animals. They're just they're animals.
all animals are animals, but some have been bred and harvested for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years,
Yeah, exactly. Do you think
specifically
that's
for
okay?
food.
Do you think that's
Cows
okay?
are multi-purposeful.
Do you think
Same
it's
with chickens. Same with
yeah? Can you
goats. Same with
answer
sheep.
my question?
And they are more abundant
Can you not
than
hear
other
me?
animals. What was your question? I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Do you think it's okay to continually breed animals into existence and literally Frankenstein them to grow so large, right? And to just develop so unnaturally. Like, do you think that's okay? Just so we can have like their flesh that we don't even need?
It's a very good question. Morally speaking, I don't think it's not like my favorite thing to do. It's why I don't many times. If I were to get animals, I usually get, I go to the grocery store because I'm cheap. Not cheap, I'm broke.
I mean,
I wish I could afford better, more humanely raised and more humanely pasteurized products.
why would you
Or at
think,
the very least,
hold on, why would you think forcibly breeding animals into existence and just raising them for their flesh, like why would you say that that isn't morally okay?
well, because creatures have a right to life, do they not?
Sure, and why would you say they have a right to life?
Because God created all creatures.
Really, you think that's why? Or do you think it's because they have an experience, like just like you and I?
They do have an experience like you and I, but also God did create all creatures.
Okay, well, I
However,
don't believe that. You can believe
reason why
what
I'm
you
not
want.
another reason why I'm sorry. Another reason why I'm not vegan is also because
What does that have to
it's
do with
natural.
it?
It's natural for omnivorous creatures to eat both meat and plant products. And biologically speaking, humans should be eating both meat and plant products.
No, there's a lot of misinformation here. We don't have to eat both flesh and plants, right? We can eat just plants and completely thrive, right? We don't have to eat animal flesh or anything that comes from an animal.
I mean, I don't know where bro lives, but the highest priced tofu I could find nationwide is $3.99.
Yeah, that's just like not true.
I'm gonna stop shopping at those expensive grocery stores then.
Yeah.
Kind of rip me off.
I live in the
It's not that
Midwest
expensive.
and I can get tofu it has gone up, I will say, in the past, few months or several months, but usually you can get it for around like $2.50 for a package of tofu.
Yeah, where I go to school in the school's dining hall, they usually have vegan alternatives. I've tried them, and they're almost never as good or fulfilling as the meat equivalents.
They might not, be seasoning them as much as the meat products. Unfortunately, a lot of the times that is the case for some reason.
Yeah. Also,
with tofu, for instance, you can do anything with tofu that you would do with meat,
chicken,
right?
or fish.
You can season it, you can marinate it, you can air fry it, you can bake it, you can pan fry it. Like you just have to season it well, just like you would.
And you have to cook it so correctly, otherwise it'll be dry or gelatinous.
I mean, you have to press the water out of it, and you have to buy firm tofu.
Hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah, one of my friends from
not
college
going
has, or usually gets tofu, brings it to his dorm, and cooks it up because he's vegan. And I wanted to try it, and I'm like, okay, here, let me try some of that. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite personally. That's also because most soy products aren't my favorite.
So do you agree that people can be completely healthy on a plant-based diet?
Well, from the scientific research that I've been spoon-fed, many meat products have several vitamins and minerals that you need that plant products can't give. For example, magnesium and iron.
We can get those from plants. We can
You
get
can
those
get,
from leafy green
Famously, you can get
nuts.
leafy green vegetables give a lot of iron, like spinach and kale. But did you know that
Yeah, we can get
the same amount of beef gives more iron?
Yeah, but we can get everything we need from a plant-based diet, right?
Very true.
We don't need to eat meat. And also meat doesn't have any fiber in it.
Very true. Yeah, no, don't only eat meat. I'm not.
Yeah.
If I ever go on a.
I just want to say real fast, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, you should look at the research they did that says that everyone can thrive on a plant-based diet in all stages of life.
I have a quick question for you. What plants can give omega-3s, magnesium, and vitamin B12?
Omega-3s, I believe, is seaweed and algae. You can take like algae supplement.
Those are also very heavy in umami, which adds to flavor.
Yeah, flax for omega-3s. B12, there's a nutritional yeast, which is pretty affordable, and it's really good. It's really nutritious, and it contains a lot of protein as well. And it's just like a cheesy substance. And you can just like put it on pasta, salad, soup, literally anything.
I feel like yeast might be a gray area. Same with honey. Same with mushrooms. Whether or not it can be considered vegan.
No, yeast and mushrooms aren't sentient. Yeah, but honey, for instance, isn't vegan because it does come from sentient beings, and they are used and exploited for what they produced, just like, milk comes from cows and they're exploited for it.
I wouldn't say bees are exploited. There's billions of bees, and bees make pounds of honey a year, and bees only need like.
They are exploited
somewhere in an article.
Yeah, they are exploited.
Off the top of my head, but bees make 4 to 5 times more honey than they can eat in a year.
That they actually like store it throughout the winter, right? So then they can like come back to it and feed their babies. So I feel like that's just like big honey, like telling lies.
Big honey? What is this, the bee movie? Yeah. No, but I had a couple questions about veganism as well. I mean,
you're kind of like all over the place, which is okay, but you're not really giving me like
spontaneous, if you know what I mean.
That's fine. You're just not giving me like an opportunity to respond to everything, so it's just kind of making it a little difficult. And I do want to say that bees are exploited, right? Because, like, for instance, the queen bee, like, her wings are clipped, or like she's separated from the hive, and like we were talking about this earlier with someone, and like they're transported, and it's very stressful for them, and their honey is taken from them, and then it's replaced with like a fake sugar substance. So it's like really not fair to them. If you had any more questions, we can try to go over them, but I would just ask to go over questions one at a time so that I can actually respond.
Alrighty, first question. Do you know any vegetables or like plants that give essential amino acids?
Someone else might want to answer this.
All plants,
right?
yeah, all plants have essential amino acid. As long as you get your total number of calories, you'll get all the protein that you need. But if you're worried about your health, there are tools out there to help you make sure that you monitor what you're eating. But you can get everything on a plant-based diet. Is it really that it's like some nutrition is what's holding you back, or is it taste pleasure?
It's taste pleasure plus nutrition, because meat is the most easy, cheap source of protein on the planet.
Okay, but let's say we find out tomorrow that human baby flesh actually makes you live another 10 years. Is that going to morally justify breeding human babies into existence so that we can consume their bodies because it's a superior food of some sort?
That's cannibalism, and that is never morally correct.
Agree. Can you tell me why you think it's immoral?
Well, why is cannibalism immoral? Probably because it's the consumption of another human being, and another human being's life is sacred.
Why does it matter?
It's just not great. I don't really do.
Can I offer an answer?
You can.
Is it that you can relate with other humans? And by saying that, I mean, if you were that baby, you wouldn't want your life to be ended by being split open and eaten by others, right? You would want to be respected. And because you're human, you can, sorry, go ahead.
I would want to be respected. You can continue.
Yeah. So then we come down to like, what's the morally relevant difference between a human baby and the animals that we use? What justifies the difference in treatment?
Well, a lot of people say, doesn't mean I necessarily agree, but a lot of people say that animals should be lesser than humans because they're not as understanding or intelligent. And I don't think that's right, but then again, who am I to complain about meat because I like the taste of it?
So again, I hate to interrupt you, but it wasn't really the answer. We we're asking about what is the morally relevant difference between using babies for bacon and using pigs for bacon. What justifies the difference in treatment? Why is it okay to do that to one but not the other?
I feel like there is no reason that.
Yeah, I agree. There is no morally relevant difference because just like how you and I feel, we care about what happens to ourselves. The animals are the same, and that's what matters. They don't want to suffer, and they want to keep doing what they want to do, just as we do. So then It just comes down to what justifies exploiting and oppressing them when you can avoid demanding that.
This is why if I ever want to become a farmer, I don't want to raise them for slaughter. I want to raise them for just for companionship, and then if they happen to die naturally, there wouldn't be as much wrong with using their past or deceased bodies. No.
Let's sub the animal that you're thinking of with humans. Would it still be moral then?
I'm not qualified to answer that.
I would say no, because as we already relate with humans, right? We know that if we were in that situation, we wouldn't want to be exploited and oppressed. And even on small farms, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, even dogs, for instance, right? Like if you wanted to, have dogs, you wouldn't say at the end of their life, when they die, I would then eat them. So it's like, why are you seeing these other animals that you care about differently, right? They're all the same. They're just like dogs. So there's no reason to use them for their flesh. Right? It's really like, I know we've been told like our whole lives, like we've really been told that we need to eat animals to be healthy. I wouldn't be up here doing a live about it, like if that were true, right? But it's not true. Like we can be completely healthy on a plant-based diet. We don't need to eat animals or their milk or their eggs. It's actually not good for us. And they want to live just like we do.
Intolerant. I'm actually lactose intolerant.
Yeah, and it's like 70% of the population is lactose intolerant because we're not supposed to be drinking mammals' milk after infancy.
Humans actually before were, I'm sorry to interrupt you once again, but humans were actually biologically lactose intolerant as adults, like most mammals, because you're not supposed to drink other mammals' milk. That's I don't even know what the first human was thinking with that one.
We can drink plant milk, right? Soy milk is great. And there are a lot of myths.
I've actually had alternative milk before.
You haven't? Is that what you said?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
No.
You should try. You should try like soy milk, for instance. I know there are a lot of myths about soy as well, but soy is actually good for you. Soy milk has lots of nutrients. It's nutritionally comparable to cow's milk. It has lots of protein. It has 8 grams of protein per cup. So definitely try out soy milk. It's pretty creamy. There's not like a weird taste to it or anything.
Yeah, unlike almond milk or cashew milk, which I have. I've never tried soy milk. I've tried almond milk, which I'm not a big fan of.
Oat milk is really good too.
Yeah. When I first started trying like vegan milks, I would suggest buying like the sweetened version. Like sometimes you can buy like, sweetened soy milk, like vanilla soy milk or like sweetened almond milk. That helped me like plant milks, I guess you could say. And like start drinking them on a normal basis. Yeah, so
Oat milk is really good too. And it comes in different flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people's counter argument for veganism is usually, the means of making vegan foods like pesticides or these big ass machines that harvest the food faster are ruining the environment. That's everyone's counter argument.
The animals eat more than we do, right? There are far more animals that are being used for their flesh, milk, and eggs than there are humans on this planet, and they eat far more than we do.
That is true.
So the majority of the crops are going to the animals. Yeah, also animal agriculture produces more greenhouse gases than all transportation, like the entire world's transportation system.
Very good. I have no respect for you. This chat is kind of unhinged right now.
I mean, you don't have to pay attention to the chat. It's always pretty unhinged. But
someone just said, I have no respect for kangaroos.
For what?
Kangaroos, I guess.
People are just random, but yeah, I would suggest watching Dominion. It's on YouTube, and it goes over standard farming practices for all different kinds of animals in different places on different farms. So that's Dominion on YouTube, and you can also watch Dairy is Scary on YouTube.
Dairy is scary. If I ever eat cheese, I'm screwed for the rest of the day.
Seriously, watch
That was
Dairy.
a joke, but at the same time.
Yeah, no, I get it. Seriously, watch Dairy is Scary. Like, seriously, watch it. But anyway, thanks for coming up. You can,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you can always come up another time. Follow VSL. She goes live a lot and she's an amazing activist. You can follow Nick and Lori on the panel as well. We all partake in vegan lives. So, yeah. All right. Well, have a good one.
You too.
Nicely done.
What?
Oh, I said nicely done.
Yeah, you too.
It takes a team.
It's just a lot at times.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when I was doing street activism today, like I was telling you, I had that goat farmer lady, and that just felt like a lot. A lot to cover, an uphill battle.
Yeah, and I feel like that ended up being a good conversation, and it's getting late, so I'm getting tired, but some conversations just like take more out of you than others, which is okay, but I just feel like he was all over the place, which he was respectful after I let him know that I can't really respond to every single question that pops into his brain, but
it actually takes energy to sit there. Like I have to think of my response, So yeah, when they shift the goalpost, it takes some energy.
yeah. And then the amino acids question, I was just like, there were so many questions that I just had a brain fart when he asked about amino acids, and I was like, isn't that all plants, or am I thinking about something else? And I was like, oh yeah.
That's why I like having other vegans with me too, because I think there was something like you can only hold 8 thoughts in your head at a time. So if you're like, going through the different things, it's hard to hold everything at once. So it's nice to have others that, can chime in, like, oh, you forgot this.
It really is.
That's in general. Like I talk to people for a living, and I often have to tell people to because they'll say something else. And then I write that down and I'm like, okay, thank you. I've written that down. Yeah. We're going to come to that. I was like, but right now we need to stick with one item at a time. And then once we've addressed that item, we're going to move on to your next item here.
Yeah.
And people get excited about stuff, whether it's like calling support or just getting on a live, and they kind of, I do take pity. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like I had this really good friend, and he was so interested in going vegan, but he was in a down and out situation. He lived out in like this little shit town in Wyoming. Yeah. And he was like, I can't get this or that. And I was like, I didn't believe him. Then I went and looked at the town, and the only thing I could find was one small general store, and all they had listed was a couple of dry goods, and like the closest actual grocery store to him was like 80 miles away. I haven't talked to him since. I hope he found something, because he seemed so interested, and I felt bad for giving him shit about not having good access, and then finding out that he wasn't BSing me. I was like, all right, Jason, you were legit, but still like a lot of that stuff, like you said.
Yeah, that's like a very fringe situation, though.
It is. It's like that situation, and then like a teenager living with controlling parents. Those are usually the kind of like where I soften up with people. Like, but still, I like just like Ozil there. I live like in the woods. I make it to the grocery store. It's somewhere.
Well, it was so funny how he was just like, tofu is $7.48 a pound, and it's just like, huh? Like,
you sure? It's like, are you sure you're not? I'm wondering if they have the 2-pound slab of the House Foods, because the House Foods 2-pound slab is like $7.50 or $8 when I see it around. So I wonder if he just thinks it's a pound, and it's actually the big long.
Heard of that before.
Oh, okay. So the House Foods brand. So there's this co-op in town. I don't see it anywhere else. And I go down and I buy this one. I should post a picture of it, and I make like a roasted tofu with it. But it's like really long and flat. My brother said they use it like in the back of the grocery store to make tofu dishes, and it's 2 pounds of tofu, and it's like $7.50. So that's what I think of, is that I think maybe he's seeing a 2-pound block of tofu, and now thinks that a pound of tofu is $7.50.
Maybe. Yeah, it was just like interesting how he just rattled off a number, and it's just like, that's not true. But No, I don't. Yeah, I think he like meant well. I just think people have genuinely been brainwashed, like, you know, like to think we need to eat animals, and it's just. Indianapolis. Hi, how old are you?
I'm 40.
Okay. Do you have a question about veganism, or can you answer why you aren't vegan?
Well, I'm not vegan, but my question is, what about the animals that would eat us? What do you say to them?
I mean, they're not rational beings necessarily, right? So what they're doing to survive or to defend themselves. But we don't have to do that, right? We have grocery stores, so we don't have to eat animals. We can just go to the grocery store and buy plant-based foods.
How do you think we survive?
How do you survive? Do you go to the grocery store?
The meat is literally provided by others that do the
Do
hunting.
you answer the question?
What's the question?
Do you go to the grocery store for your food?
Of course I go to the grocery store.
Okay, great. So then you have the choice to choose plant-based options.
What about the animals that eat us?
Bro, I answered your question. Can
No,
we
you
move
didn't.
on?
No, you didn't.
I
It goes
did?
both ways. No, it goes both ways. You know
How
it
did I
does.
not answer your question?
It goes both ways.
How did I not answer your question?
It's a two-way road. You know it.
So if kids do things that are immoral, can we exploit children then?
Huh?
Children are another type of moral patient. So if they do things that are immoral and irrational, does that then give us the right to oppress and exploit them for our benefits?
We went from animal to kids. What's going on here?
Do you understand that she's saying that both children and animals are moral patients, right? So she's making that comparison there.
We eat animals and animals eat us. What's the problem?
You're dense, bro.
I don't know what animal did. Like an animal eat one of his family members or something. He kind of
Right.
sounded a little drunk. He had a little. He had a little whiskey in his tone,
I think he was
and
thick. Yeah.
like I
A little
live
swig
where
in
the
his talk.
animals that eat people live, and we just. What I say to them is, you guys do what you want, and I'm going to stay in the house during the dusk and dawn hours.
Exactly.
You didn't
Exactly.
answer my question, bro.
I haven't heard of many animals eating people recently either.
Definitely have. A young man got attacked and like mauled by a cougar, like right up the road from my house, mountain lion, like about a year ago. And he got attacked. His brother tried to fight it off, and he got like eaten, and he is no longer with us. It's a very sad story. And I live in these places. Like we were just out here. There's 4 mountain lions in my neighborhood right now because Mama Mountain Lion had a couple, and they lived together until the babies are like 2 years old. So it's actually like a very scary situation to even joke about. We've talked about getting rifles to protect ourselves, even though I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
what you have to do.
it's self-defense, right? So like you have to defend yourself. Like he was just like, what about the animals who eat us? Like we don't have to eat animals. I don't know what else you want me to say. Blake, hi, how old are you?
I am 19 years of age.
Okay. Do you have a question about veganism?
Yeah. I don't know. I was just kind of curious, like, what makes you be vegan, like, compared to just not being vegan?
Yeah, so vegans, we avoid the exploitation of sentient beings whenever practicable and possible. So we don't eat animals or, their milk or their eggs. We don't like support zoos or circuses. We don't wear animal skins or fur, stuff like that.
Sure. So is it only like sentient beings?
Yeah, it would be sentient beings who can have
Okay.
experience.
Yeah. So why do you draw the line there?
I mean, that's what matters, right? The ability to feel, the ability to have a subjective experience.
Okay. So do you think that like for health, like being vegan can accomplish all things that not being vegan can?
Yeah, absolutely. There are thousands of studies. You can look at what the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics says, that being vegan is completely healthy for all stages of life. We can even thrive on plant-based diets.
I see. Okay. So you think that being vegan is just like it's a more moral thing to do, and it accomplishes all the same benefits for your health.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like, why do you think like it's not moral to like not be vegan? You know, like why is it immoral? Just it's just killing sentient beings, but like, why are killing these sentient beings like
Yeah, because
from
they're
your point
having
of, sorry.
because they're having a subjective experience, right? Just like you and I, just like cats and dogs, they can feel, they care about their life, they fight for their life, they have relationships, they care about their children, and all of these things are taken from them, right? And their life is ultimately taken from them. And that's like, we should just not, because we don't have to.
Yeah, I'm curious. So you're saying sentient beings is your line there. Would you say that rights for animals are then equal to rights for humans?
I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by that. Like, obviously, we don't need animals to vote or anything like that.
Sure, but sorry.
They're not necessarily rational beings, right?
Yeah,
But
for
they are
instance, right?
sentient.
Yeah, if I killed a sentient animal, say, like, I don't know, a dolphin or something, and like, is that still murder in your eyes compared to if I just killed a human being?
I mean, yeah, I would say it's murder, right? It's unjust unaliving.
Well, is it like on like an equal ground? Is like, like you would send someone to prison for like 25 years for killing a dolphin?
I mean, look, I don't necessarily equate animals to humans. Some vegans do, but
Could I add something?
that's also a false dichotomy, right? We don't have to choose between one or the other. So.
Sure. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out if there's any like moral distinction between the two. Like, if you think that we're equal to, things we eat or not. But
Yeah.
sure, VSL or
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to ask something?
Yeah. So I would say that when it comes to like punishment for a crime, obviously in society, something that has been deemed so normal, I wouldn't be so quick to give such a harsh punishment, because the harsher the punishment is because you should have known better. So I would still think that we would have, if we were able to have some legal system, it would be within reason of like the understanding of people. There would still be repercussions, but I don't think it would be so extreme, because people sadly don't always accepting others that are different, and it takes them longer sometimes to follow logic. And some people are not rational beings, and I don't want to hold that against them, but I also want everyone to be safe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, okay, so theoretically, you're saying that if like over time, if more people became vegan, then it would make sense to make a law where murdering a dolphin would have an increased length in prison.
Look at the laws for dogs. Look at the laws for dogs in hot cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's an example of, someone having repercussions for leaving their dog in a hot car because that animal suffered for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that has a repercussion to it.
Yeah, no, I mean that made sense. Really, what I'm trying to get at here is like, I personally think that like taking care of animals is good. You know, being loving to animals is great, but I also don't think that it's necessarily immoral to kill something that you are intending to eat for your survival. Like, I don't see how that can be deemed as wrong necessarily.
Well, the one that you're using, the one that you're taking life from, what do they think about it?
Well, most animals don't think anything. They're just living based off instinct. Or
So let's say you lose your sapience, your ability to understand morality, possibly not even understand, thinking about thoughts. Would that then justify exploiting you because you may not be fully aware of your exploitation?
No, but I also think that like,
but do you agree that would be immoral to exploit someone who's not aware of their exploitation?
Sure, but I also think you're taking out the survival part of it. I don't think someone's going to try to eat me while I'm.
Of course, survival and necessity, absolutely understandable. But when you have options, when you don't need to demand someone's exploitation, you can either go without or find an alternative. Then that's the more compassionate choice that you would demand for yourself, right? If you were being oppressed in the cage, your oppressor had an option or didn't even need to use you, wouldn't you prefer that they do that they stop using you?
Sure, but again, I'm not very versed on this, but it seems like being vegan would be financially like more expensive for lots of people than not being vegan.
Let's put you in the victim's perspective. Your oppressor has to spend an extra $2 to get tofu human. Would you rather them do that or use you?
Well, again, I mean, I think it's kind of a flawed example because it's not about you. Like, the only reason why I would even consider hurting an animal is solely for eating it and for the nutrition of it.
Again,
I don't think anyone's trying to kill me for
just
nutrition.
wants to consume your flesh.
Who wants to consume my flesh?
The person that's going to use your oppressor is going to use your flesh to give their muscles nourishment, but they could eat human tofu. Wouldn't you rather they eat the human tofu rather than you?
I mean, yeah, but it's just I think that the metaphor is inherently flawed because we as humans have a different level of safety.
Let's say there's aliens that come down and they're able to put a collar on you, so you're not aware of what's happening to you. They're smarter than you. They know how the universe works. So, they're clearly more moral agents than you. Does that now justify them using you for your flesh? You think that's moral?
So, in this example, there is some form of like alien that has a greater moral sense than I do. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I personally just don't believe that. So I think it's kind of a false theoretical.
Okay, another human is going to oppress you and eat your flesh. Are you okay with this because they are able to dominate you?
Well, I mean, obviously not. But again, I think that's a human. That's a human to human issue. That's not a human to a lesser form of moral agency.
Let's say they do it and you're unaware of it, but they're going to take your life at their own convenience. Does that sound fair? Do you want that to happen, or would you prefer they just left you alone?
But okay. Again, we still have human rights based off our pre-established, form of being a human being.
Are you talking about legality, or are you talking about inherent rights?
I'm saying of our moral right to live and that we are given as human beings,
So
even if we're unconscious or lose sapience, that doesn't just get abolished.
Right, I agree. We have inherent rights because we are sentient beings.
Well, we have a higher form of it than other animals.
Well, regardless of how rich your experience is, what matters is that you don't want to suffer and that you want to keep living.
Sure, but I think there aren't really lots of animals out there who or any that have a sense of journey, and they're like, okay, this is what I'm doing with my life. Obviously, they haven't achieved that form of.
We just covered that. Intelligence doesn't matter. If you care
that's not
about
intelligence.
You are saying that they don't care about things when they do. That's what sentience means, is that they're making preferences. So as an oppressor, it's more convenient for you to demean their values to themselves because it makes you feel less bad for taking everything away from them. But you should understand the gravity of what you're doing. They are someone who cares about themselves and their family. And when you use animal products, you're demanding that they be used. You're demanding they be objectified for you. And you don't need to do that. That's why we're here.
Sure. I mean, I totally, like, if you want to reframe this in a way where you don't need to do that because you would be just as healthy, I can probably agree with you there. But then you go down the line
about
of
health, but that is because we can't be healthy. Why are we subjecting someone to this? That is the point.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The point I'm trying to get at is, if, say someone can't afford to be vegan, would you then call that person bad for eating animals?
Well, I would ask if it's truly something about affordability that's holding them back from being vegan, or are they using that as an excuse? Because it's one thing if someone wants to be vegan and they genuinely are like, I can't find all my needed things, because there's a genuine motivation of, I don't want to demand animals be used for me. You know, it's more like you feel like there's an injustice and you don't like that someone is forcing your hand now to cross your own principles, right? That would be frustrating. Whereas someone who maybe be in that situation who doesn't want to look, there could be alternatives that you just miss because you're not looking for them. So it really depends on the motivation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that made sense. I'm trying to establish the morals of this. So if someone is like living paycheck to paycheck and being vegan is more expensive, they can't afford to be vegan. Would you call that person immoral for not being vegan?
I mean, you're kind of trying to build a straw man here. And what I'm trying to tell you is an example would be maybe someone who's living as in an Inuit or maybe a native tribe somewhere, and they don't have access to like a grocery store. But they have come across this idea in their head that, hey, you know what? I recognize that animals are a someone, and I don't want to use them when I don't have to. Someone motivated like that wouldn't say, oh, well, I don't have access, so I'm not going to do anything. They would be motivated to keep trying and always looking for alternatives. And in every other option that they do have choice, they choose to not use an animal. Whereas someone who maybe has just been introduced to the ideas of veganism and doesn't fully understand it yet might use that excuse as a reason to not even look. And so even though you may be poor, that doesn't mean there aren't options around you, because you weren't, honestly, it sounds like you're not really motivated. If, let's say you had all the money you needed, would you say it would be a moral obligation for you to live vegan?
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at is that if from your point of view it would be, but from my point of view it wouldn't necessarily be, because I think that we as humans have a higher level of moral value than other sentient
but an
animals.
adult has higher value than a child. An adult can actually give back to society. A child
That doesn't mean they have more moral value than a child.
So what is the morally relevant difference between children and animals?
Being a human being.
So it's literally just DNA.
Being a human. I mean,
What does it mean to be human, though?
having DNA that corresponds to the human species.
What makes humans worthy of respect?
I mean, if you want to get into like a philosophical or theological aspect, we can, but I mean, I don't know if you
What
want to
makes
go
humans
down that.
worthy of respect?
Well, again, purely in a non-philosophical, theological way, because
You don't
we
need
have
to
human
get
DNA.
philosophical. It really would take
Well, yeah,
maybe
because you're
one
asking,
sentence
you're
to
asking
say.
why do humans have worth? I mean, obviously, that's pretty philosophical.
Well, let's make it more simple. Why is human slavery immoral?
Well, again, because we're all humans, like we all
You
have
keep
equal moral
making the
value.
question. That's like saying, why is the sky blue? And you just keep saying it's blue.
You're
Right,
saying
that's
why
not an
slavery is
explanation.
bad? Slavery is bad because we all have equal moral value. People shouldn't take advantage of each other.
Is it because we care about what happens to us, each one of us, and I don't want someone oppressing my purpose?
Well, yeah. Again, we all have equal moral value, and that applies from
What is the
non-slaves
difference
to.
then between us and animals? Because animals are also sentient, meaning they care what happens to them.
Well, again, not there's different levels of sentience, right? Like I go through my life. I have my own journey. I have my
There's
own
no different
experiences.
kinds of
I
sentience.
learn,
You
I
either
grow.
are or are
Yeah.
not sentient.
That's
Yes,
not true.
some people have more rich experiences, but it's measured in different ways. You know, animals, they have more intelligence in their other sensories. Like they smell more, they can see a larger range, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah, but
might
that's
be
not
thinking
sentience.
of Blake. You might be thinking of sapiens.
Sorry, you're probably right. Again, I'm not very super like inverse with all these terms, but
So not all humans are sapient, right? We've talked about the examples of humans that don't have these higher qualities, but we still respect them because they're sentient. That's what matters. You're having a subjective experience. You're making preferences. You want to avoid harm. You look forward to the next day, or at least you want to keep living. You want to have more experiences.
okay. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't think like just because someone can lose sapience, it doesn't mean that they have lost the structure of what
Blake,
gave
I
them
think you're
sapience.
missing the point. What we're saying is these animals, they're sentient, which means they care what happens to them. And many of them are much more intelligent than you think they are. They're aware of a lot more than you think they are.
Okay, so
But we reduce them so that you understand that even in the worst case scenario that you're thinking, like animals are near automatons, right? They still care about what happens to them.
Mhm.
That's what matters. Just
I-
like why we respect all other humans.
I mean, I think there is a distinction that you're missing there. I don't think just
To
caring
say
about
otherwise,
whether you
Blake,
live or
is a
not.
form of discrimination like racism, for example. You're using an arbitrary trait to say, regardless of the fact that you feel, I'm going to do what I want to because this trait, I deem you lesser than me. That's what you're doing. Racism is picking race. You're picking species. There's no morally relevant difference between us other than our category.
Again, I wholeheartedly disagree. I think
Well, then
there is
please give me
moral.
a great rebuttal that tells me otherwise.
Well, I can go into philosophy and theology if you want. I mean, just
I
that is
don't
where
need you
this,
to
that's where that
monologue.
stem
It's
from.
really simple. We're talking about basic rights of why we respect each other. Because otherwise, there would be more human slavery, right? We would have humans that we deem lesser, and we'd put them in factories to do all our labor. But we don't do that because we recognize that there's someone there having an experience and they care what happens to them. And if we were them, we would want to be treated with respect.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Okay,
Well, Blake, it
What's up?
seems like it would be so simple for you to explain why humans are so much more superior to animals that it's okay to exploit animals and not okay to exploit humans. But you still haven't given us an answer. You've been begging the question. You've been pivoting, right?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can explain it. Okay, so I personally am a Christian, so I believe all humans are made in God's image. That is what I think gives us value. So again, we can go down that line, but I think even keeping it purely scientifical, purely what we know from empirical evidence, that we as humans.
You would have to prove that God exists, first of all.
Okay, I mean, I don't necessarily have to prove, like, to hold that opinion, but I
Wait,
could
wait,
have
which
a
religion?
conversation about it.
Which God? Which God?
I said Christianity.
Okay. Wait, you're saying that, what was your justification though with it?
We are all made in the image of God. Humans are made in God's image.
Okay. Is that your excuse for in-group?
No, I'm saying that is why we as humans have higher moral value than other animals.
So you don't care about someone's ability to suffer?
Again, I think as humans,
I mean,
there's
he can't
a
answer
different.
it. Like, he's just saying.
What am I not answering?
You're saying because humans are better, and you can't prove it, or you can't give a reason for it.
Well, okay. Again, scientifically, we have a higher depth of experience and sapience. I think is
Blake,
the term.
Blake, I don't think this is really going anywhere else. So I do want to just recommend a documentary called Dominion on YouTube. It just goes over the standard practices of how we treat animals that we exploit and use for food. So I would just suggest like watching that just so you can be a little more educated on what is actually happening to these animals and that they really do care about their lives and that they don't want to be exploited just for a sandwich, right?
Yeah, I totally get that. I don't disagree with you there. I do
Okay.
care about animals.
Okay. And I, you've stayed respectful. It's getting late. But I just like, we can't just keep going in like circles here. So.
Sure, I agree with you. If you want to talk to someone else, you can, or I could ask a different question about being vegan if you want.
Yeah, I think we're going to go to someone else, but you can always come up another time, or you can follow the panel. VSL goes live very regularly, so after you watch Dominion, you could always request to be on her panel, or Nick and Lori, also are on panels and stuff. So yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate the conversation.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for coming up.
Survival at the grocery store.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it back.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Made it back.
Go ahead.
What?
No, I interrupted you. I feel terrible.
No, don't.
No, I'm just lamenting, and I'm also thinking about the affordable thing. Like I do all the cooking, like I do a lot of the shopping for the family, and like I don't know, our bill went down when I stopped eating animal products. Like literally went down. It was a significant difference too. So
Yeah.
I was thinking of that scene from Fern Gully where they are showing the fairies when they first see the guy, and he's like, "Human?" I don't know. It's just a hilarious scene, and we quote it often in this house. So when he kept saying we're human, it's just the scene that kept playing in my mind.
Thank you, Vegan Siren, for the gift. Yeah, I remember that. My daughter. That was my daughter's favorite video.
when people start bringing up prices too, or people that can afford it, when they're like, "Oh, what about people that are low income?" Like, I really don't like that because, it's this idea that quote unquote the poor's, low income people like can't make their own ethical decisions or something because of their situation when really they can, and these foods are available, and low income people buy and eat beans and rice, and a lot of vegans that I know aren't rich. They don't have money like say my wife does over here and stuff like that to buy all the yummy like Impossibles and stuff like that she gets me when I want to make biscuits and gravy, but we still save money by canning our beans and rice and stuff like that, because the fact is that it's just inexpensive to can our beans and just eat them out of the jar like ourselves, like all the time, just like any other thing, just prepping your own food.
Yeah. Not everyone has a sugar mama like you.
Yeah.
I'm a fortunate person.
Anyway, this will be our last guest of the night. So, Divine, how old are you?
Hey, I'm 26.
Okay, cool. I saw you in the chat. Did you have questions then?
Yeah. So I think I want to preface this by saying, like, I actually think I can be convinced that vegan ethics are like very sound. But I have some pushback, so I would love to hear what you guys think about this. I think that the last guest was touching on something that I agree with, but he just wasn't able to, I guess, encapsulate it properly. I would say that we don't give moral worth or protections based on like ability or even like sentience. I think that we give these things and we grant these things, specifically rights, to the kind of thing that things are. So like my thing would be is of a rational kind is what humans fall under. So even like humans who have disabilities. I would still say they are in this membership. I wouldn't say that I would like revoke rights based on abilities, because then you get into like some really murky water. I would just say that animals, we can't grant them rights because they're not in a moral community, and they need to be in one to like accept rights or have rights. I just don't think it makes sense to say animals have rights. I don't think we should hurt them, but it doesn't make sense to me to grant them rights.
You don't think animals should have any rights?
No, they're not capable, would be my view.
Like you don't think, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about like the right to vote or to drive, right? We're talking about just like rights that would protect them because they're sentient beings, like they would, right?
Sorry, yeah, I wanted to make sure I wasn't
way.
cutting you off. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, they would just protect them like in that way. Right? Like you don't, so are you saying you don't think there should be like any type of regulations when it comes to farming animals?
No, not at all. Not at all. That's why like, I have a distinction that I'm making. Hopefully I'm able to articulate this well, but essentially my distinction is just that it doesn't make sense to say that animals have rights. I wouldn't say that it follows then that we should, I think that we can have like a responsibility to things without them necessarily having rights. Like, I don't think that we need to be cruel to animals, or that it would follow that we should be cruel to animals. I'll give you like a simple thought in my head. It's essentially just, let's say that if there was a cow and it was on a farm and I literally just took its life instantaneously, there would be no moral wrong that happened here. That would be my view.
Wait.
Okay, so can I ask him something? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but when we're talking about rights, you're using the plural word, but really you just came to the end, and it's really the right to life. So you're saying that you don't think that animals intrinsically have a right to life. If you think it's okay for you, or you have some kind of utilitarian reason to take that life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Maybe a small clarification. Most of everything you said was perfect. It's just a small clarification would be, I would say like any right. I just have to separate the fact that I don't think that just because you have rights, this is what protects you from like cruelty or something like that. I think we can not be cruel, but still you are not granted any rights. So, but yeah, basically what you said. Yes.
Gotcha. Because you keep saying rights, but then like really in the end of it, it came down to, if I have a utilitarian reason, I'm just going to end this cow and do what I want with it. So
sure, we can focus on that.
We say, yeah. And when we're talking about rights, we are talking about rights. And like she said, we're not talking about like the right to drive or the right to vote or the right to have access to our restaurants and sites, restaurants and sidewalks. I mean, maybe the sidewalks, but yeah, we're just talking about the right to not be snatched up, thrown into a cage, be unalived for maybe a pair of shoes or a sandwich or something when that's unnecessary. So you say, like, you kind of shifted to responsibilities. Okay. So, I mean, okay, we're kind of splitting hairs on words here. Like, you're shifting the right of the animal to the responsibility of the person. So here, like, I mean, wouldn't it be more responsible or respectful or otherwise to not unalive the animals just on a whim when you actually have an option? We go to grocery stores, there's plant foods, people can be healthy, we don't need to eat it, we don't need to be cruel. I mean, I think unaliving an animal is cruel and inhumane no matter what way that you do it.
So sorry, Nick, I don't mean to like cut off prematurely. Were you done with the thought? I have the worst ADD. So
you go ahead. Okay. I'm pretty bad too. You're doing fine, dude.
Okay, thanks. Something that you said stood out to me. So I don't think this is something that I hear typically brought up in like vegan ethics, which is like it's not necessary to unalive the animal for food. I would agree with this. I think that when people try and make the argument that like it is necessary, I think it's a losing battle. But I would say that just because it's not necessary, it doesn't follow then it would be like immoral for us to take the action. So like it's not necessary. I know what you're going to say because there's going to be a cruelty element probably, but just to outline my point, like I don't think it's necessary to like eat dessert or buy a really big house, right? Or I just don't think necessity is going to then make like a moral connection. But with the animal, that's why I don't think we should be cruel to them. I think we can have a responsibility not to be cruel to them. But if I took the cow's life instantaneously, there's no moral wrong that's happened in my view. I don't
Would
think
you
there's
say
any.
the same for humans?
No, there would be a moral wrong.
Gotcha. But now when you say like a dessert or an other item, those are inanimate items. So the like a dessert at a restaurant, that's not something that's alive. I mean, that's not like these other items. So a cow isn't alive, it's having an objective experience. So just like a human, if you instantaneously unalive it without saying anything, like that's still, I mean, leaving it alone, whatever, cool. It's there's nothing humane about that. It's not benevolent. It's not, you've just come up with like this apparatus that says I can just unalive an animal because humans are better than them. Like what we've been asking people, we asked that last guy, and I think what we would want to ask you is that we would ask you to name the trait that makes it okay to do that to the cow. Because I actually, let's bring up pigs. Okay, let's say it's pigs, because I have 2 pigs that live on my property. They're my residents. I take care of them. They're having an obvious objective experience. They're having a robust experience. They have feelings. They like adventure. They're in a relationship together. They're friends with the chickens. They have a relationship with other animals. And, I don't think that it would be moral or ethical for somebody to just go and unalive those one day for whatever reason, just because they're a human and they feel like, it almost sounds like you're prefacing that might makes right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I could clarify. So, I'll give, and sorry, just because you said a lot, so I'll try to be as concise as possible. I'm kind of a yapper. But the way that I would view this is, I don't think that sentience is actually what we care about. I think that we care about the types of things that things are. A really good analogy to illustrate this point, I don't think that we just care that like you are having an objective experience. Like a really dramatic thing I could give you is, I'm sure you would say that like we should treat inanimate human bodies, if you know what I mean, right? I don't know what I can say, but inanimate human bodies, we should treat them a certain way. Although there's no sentience in sight. There's nothing to speak of objective experience, but it's the kind of thing that thing is that we feel that it's wrong to treat it a certain way still. So that would just illustrate that I don't think necessarily sentience is what we care about. There's many times where sentience is not in the picture, but it wouldn't follow that we can do things that, like to that person. So I think what we care about is what the thing is. And so what I'm saying is that the animals do not have the capacity to pass on or communicate rights to each other or even understand rights. They're not a moral kind. So we're attributing a moral type of thing in a right to a community that is not of a moral or rational kind. Humans are of a moral or rational kind. So would be like any kind of alien reductio that you give me. If like intelligent aliens come down and they understand morality and social contracts, they would also be of rational kind. Animals are not of rational kind. They don't have second order desires. So yeah.
I mean, animals have been displayed to be rational actors within their own communities in many scientific studies, saving each other from danger and teaching each other habits and tradition within their own circles.
Okay, so this is where that's why I started off with saying I actually could be swayed on this. So I would love to read the study that you're talking about, because my understanding, when I say second order desires, I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but I just mean that like, I don't reject that animals can say like, I want to avoid pain, I want food, I want to go over here, I want to go over there, or even like, I enjoy this experience necessarily. But second order desires in the fact that like, I could say like, I don't want my desire for food to make me like eat more, or like I want my desire for health to override my desire to eat a lot. That's what I mean by animals don't have this second order desire. But,
so it's been shown that like a cat, just even a common house cat, right? Even if they're hungry, they'll just accept hanging out with you because that gives them a sense of belonging and wanting to be around. Like they'll skip a meal for pets because it gives them a level of satisfaction in a relationship sense. There's a lot more to it. I probably can't explain it right, but there's a component there where like, just like a person like maybe if they're hungry, they might enjoy some company while they have to wait for their food or be denied it. And like maybe another person there experiencing that would be better. Like a cat will skip a meal just to hang out with a person. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that matches what you're saying there, but also I'm going to try and make this quick, but a story I like to tell about my pigs is I threw an apple down here and it rolled back behind a fence, and one of the pigs is looking at it, and she figured out she couldn't get to the apple. Okay. And then she went in and got the other pig and came out and looked at it. And like they started working together to basically dismantle the fence because they want this apple. Okay. Yeah. So it's not just eating the apple. They actually start coming up with a plan and working together to do something to get to what they want, like using their heads as tools and stuff. And even beyond that, like these animals are very aware, and it wouldn't matter if they were aware. Like if they were really, really dumb, I would feel the same way, because intelligence or level of intelligence or how I feel about the way that they communicate with it has nothing to do, because whether they very well could have morals, and just because we can't communicate with them, we don't know what those are. So we shouldn't assume that just because their morals don't match ours, that they don't have morals.
So this will get into like a weird, like, I don't want to go too meta here of like, if we think morals are like objective or subjective, but like, I don't think intelligence has anything to do with it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that just because there's like humans, right, that are not intelligent, I don't think that takes away from their moral worth. This is why I mentioned my idea of what a thing is, right? That way it covers all things of a rational kind, not including capabilities. My question, I guess, to you would be like, let's say that your pig, this is going to sound funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I think this is an interesting question. Do you, let's say that your pig, like essayed like another pig or something, or like hurt another pig. Do you think that what that pig did was morally wrong?
I mean, from a human-centric view.
Well, do you think that the pig or any animal understands they've done a moral harm, that they have done something morally wrong?
No.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm not putting my human-centric view. Like, there's this dude that hangs out here. He's like the vegan Bolshevik. He's such a turd, and he prefaces this big like thing about like, if this one animal is harming this other animal, then it's okay to harm this animal and then eat it. But really, what he doesn't realize is he's just coming up with this big utilitarian apparatus that says, if I harm animals in this very super specific way, then it makes it okay. So that's what I run into with like backyard chickeners and stuff like that. They want to like kind of bring up different levels of animal exploitation. And I really ask people like why they have animals, because you and I know why people get animals and dogs and cats. Right. And because we like companionship. We like to hang out with other people. We like to be around animals because we see ourselves in these animals. And that's why many, many people have decided that it's not ethical to harm these animals, because, and you're asking a lot of valid questions, and you're asking them in better ways than most of the people that I see on these lives ask them, actually. But I want you to just really like look at it and say, like, am I looking at everything from a speciesist, human-centric view where I'm just building this apparatus of might makes right because I'm doing this in my own apparatus? So, like, these animals are aware. Like, I remember after I got Chopper, I found him out there staring at the cage.
Is that your pig?
Yeah. Yeah, like staring at the cage. And then like Chopper doesn't like the cage because he knows what it is. And then Cherry, my other pig, doesn't like the cage because she doesn't know what it is. And I think that's a really interesting paradigm.
I agree. And I want to say too, first of all, like, this is why I started with, I think when people get up here and they act like, what are you guys talking about? It's just an animal. Like, I think that vegan ethics is very intuitive, right? Like, I have a dog. I love my dog. My dog's my friend. You know what I mean? So when I think about things like that, it's like there does seem to be this like am I building something, or am I trying to justify something too deep when like intuitively, it just, I get what the vegan ethics says. So my only other thing I was going to ask you guys, if you don't mind, and then I would love for you guys to point me in like maybe a helpful like study or a resource that I could go look at. But my other question was, like people, like plants, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but like the only thing that I sometimes hear when I'm hearing vegans defend like kind of this unknown of, we're not really sure, it almost sounds like we should err on the side of caution because we don't know how their inner world is working. For some reason, for plants, this seems to be like plants and trees, it seems to be like completely disregarded, or like mushrooms even, right? When they show like reactions to things and like this inner communication network, and there's like studies on mushrooms that like can warn of like danger coming and all this weird stuff, that seems to be easily swept away and of just like, well, that's not what that is. That's just pure reaction to stimuli. It just seems like a premature jump from the vegan's perspective because we seem to be erring on the side of caution for other things. Just curious your guys' thoughts.
Well, I mean, anybody else chime in here, but for me on this one, it's what it comes down to me is that I find the premise of saying that in these living species, there maybe could be the possibility of maybe there's some kind of reaction, like we see something happen here, but we don't really know what it is, but we can go to a abattoir, a house of slaughter, and we can watch the observable suffering of animals. Okay, so, and also there's been, I'd like to find this one for you. There's a whole paper of some plant biologists that put out that said, stop saying the plants are alive, please. It goes against our studies. So plants
are sentient.
Sentient. So they are alive and they do communicate, but let's also think about the fact that like, I mean, my router and my computer communicate, and they send when something bad's happening, they make a signal to let them know that there's stress on the system and there's something bad happening. Does this mean that my computers and routers are sentient?
Yes.
It just means that maybe there's something alive there that recognizes patterns, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's worth exploring because I'd love to know if something that eating is sentient, but I'd rather spend my time on what I can observe rather than something that maybe possibly might be happening.
Yeah. Also, I do want to add some things that animals, we know animals are sentient because they have central nervous systems, they have nociceptors, which is how they can feel pain, just like we do. Fungi, plants, they don't, right? And so, I mean, it is scientific consensus that they are not sentient. And let's steel mania, like a 40-year-old vegan said in the chat, even if these plants were sentient, right? The animals eat far more plants than we do, right? There are 92 billion animals that we exploit and unalive every year for food I mean, we don't need. That's way more than humans, and they eat far more than you or I do. So it's like 80% of crops go to these animals.
Yeah. Okay. And that's to be honest, I think it's like, I've heard people really die on this hill. I think it's one of the weaker points. Sorry guys, I know I said I only had one last question. Can I ask you guys one last thing and then I'll bounce out of here if you guys don't mind, or are we out of time? Okay. What do you guys think? I'm really curious because I feel really strongly about the idea of like sentience not necessarily being what we care about. And the example that I gave in regards to like the inanimate body, right, of a human, I think we'd all agree on this panel that like we wouldn't like mistreat this thing, even though there is no experience that's happening. And my simple question is just, why do you guys think that is?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you guys know what I mean by inanimate, like body? I'm just trying not to get like in trouble with words.
Oh yeah, no, I heard you say that earlier and I didn't address it. I'm kind of on the Frank Reynolds tip, throw me in the trash. I'm done. Take my organs, put them in somebody else. this life is over. I'm going on. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I know
okay.
there's some people that are have some closely held religious beliefs or certain things about culture or society really inform that. But, I think that comes down to some really personal, like what you believe personally. You know what I mean? I don't think that the human body is intrinsically sacred just because it's a human body.
Do you think that and I hate to like ask this question because it seems like I'm putting you in like a real weird corner, so I'm going to apologize in advance, but I have to know how you answer this. Do you think that it's wrong for people to like get sexual pleasure from inanimate human bodies? And if so,
I
why?
feel like that would be unethical. There's a lot of implications there on mental state, what they're willing to do to somebody that isn't alive. There's also the implication of catching and then spreading disease. There's a lot of
It's a
really
utility thing. Yeah.
There's a huge spider web of ethical implications with that kind of behavior.
Right. Not necessarily a violation to the inanimate body.
Yeah, like really just the like what kind of person are you? Like it's not for me, that's not so much about the body, it's about the person that's doing it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, fair enough. Okay, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for having me up. I enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. So I would just recommend watching Dominion on YouTube. It goes over the standard farming practices of animals and on different farms in different places around the world. So yeah, that's a good one to just become a little more educated on, I guess animal ag and how they're treated in general. So.
Okay. Do you think it's possible for someone to agree with vegan ethics but not be a vegan? Maybe that's a weird question, but I can like explain why. Like, do you think that's like an absurd take?
Yeah,
I don't.
mean, I would say it's absurd, definitely. And yeah, Nick might be right. Maybe if you aren't vegan, you might not understand the ethics.
Yeah, like I have allies and I love them, and but they don't always get it.
Yeah, because like my position for the longest time was, to be honest, I've always defended when people are like, oh, vegans like don't know what they're talking about. I've always thought your guys' ethical framework is very strong. I've had like vegan friends of mine corner me in positions where like I have to just say like I don't care, if that makes sense. I don't mean in like a rude way. Like I mean literally, I just am like, well, I can't defeat it, but it's too inconvenient for me. It sounds terrible, maybe to you guys.
I think what it is you're not actually seeing the animals as individuals. Like you're still seeing them as commodities.
Sure.
Right? Like you're not.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a thing that takes time because we have all been just so indoctrinated to believe that animals are commodities and like they're here for us to use. I mean, there is also a study that's really interesting. VSL might be able to explain it a little better, but basically they took two groups of people. They gave one group of people like beef jerky and they gave the other group like nuts or something for a snack, right? And then they showed them a video regarding animals, like I think being unalived. And then they asked the group who just ate beef jerky, like how they saw the animals, if they, and again, VSL, feel free to jump in. Like,
that was it right there. You said it right. Like one group was given animal product, they were given beef jerky, and the other group was given nuts. And then they were asked about, they were shown information about animals. And then they were asked about the cognitive abilities of animals. And those that had been consuming the beef jerky were less inclined to recognize that animals are very aware and very intelligent, have many capabilities that prove that they are sentient. Whereas those that consumed the nuts, they were more inclined to accept that and even say, yes, animals are very intelligent and sentient.
The ones that consume the nuts were more likely, or the one that consumed the beef?
Animal products, you have this thing called a cognitive dissonance. So you benefited from something even though it goes against your principles. And it's more comfortable to just ignore that and keep doing your habits versus facing it and asking yourself, like, why do I feel one way and then I'm doing the other? Which one is more important?
Okay. Yeah. I
So
totally get what you're saying.
yeah, my point being, like, a lot of vegans, you know, they do go plant-based first, so to speak. So, you know, like for health or for the environment. And I'm not saying it's for all vegans. I'm not saying this is the best way, but that is a reality. Like I, for instance, went vegan more so for health because I realized that animal products just are not good for us. And then I started learning more about what the animals go through, and how unethical it all is.
Yeah.
And so, and I brought up the study because I do think that if you just, you know, stop eating animals and their secretions, you will make the connection that, you know, we shouldn't use animals. So that's what I was
Cool.
trying to say.
Yeah, no, well said. Well said. I appreciate you guys letting me like fully get my thoughts out too. Sometimes these conversations can be a little bit heated. So
Yeah.
thanks for the conversation, guys. I appreciate it. Hope
Yeah.
you guys
Have a good night.
Have a good night, man.
Good night. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks guys for coming up. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks everyone in the chat for being here. I know people get a little weird at times, but thanks mods and everything for helping out. Yeah, hopefully I'll, you know, try and go live a little more than I have been the past year.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Good night. Talk to you later.
Do the like as far as like my beliefs. I'm always asking like what do I believe? And then I'll ask myself